Jon Bernthal is set to return to the MCU. It's alongside another red suit wearing New York resident, not Matt Murdock, but one of his former clients, Peter Parker himself, Spider-Man. I give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
How would you describe my movie watching tendencies?
Like your comments all over the fucking place.
I just give a lot of credit to our sponsors.
That's it.
Ourselves. James Gunn, here we go. He's talking and talking and talking and
still.
Yeah, they say I'm a yapper.
Right.
This motherfucker hasn't shut the fuck up since he got the job. You know, Jesus. He says this: I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see things online. Who would beat whom? Homelander or Superman or fucking whatever, Adam Warlock or Brightburn. And I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest fucking conversation. Okay. Bro, let the kids have fun. We are comic book fans, right? He is a movie director. We're different.
Of comic
movies, predominantly, right? One of the most fun aspects of being a comic book fan are conversations like that.
Right.
Hey, who would beat so-and-so? The stupidest fucking conversation? Motherfucker, this is the reason why you have a job, because there's people like us having the stupidest fucking conversation of, would Batman beat Superman? Could Iron Man beat Black Panther? So on and so forth. It's called having fucking fun.
Right.
My man, he's trying to unalive the fun. All right. Welcome to Only Comics. I'm Mike. That's Adrian.
What up, man?
What's up, dude?
The heat's coming, baby.
It is, bro. Heat wave. And we're back. We're making Mondays great again.
That's it.
The world's at war. There's all kinds of shit going on
absolutely,
right now, dude. Who the hell knows?
Not me.
Not me either. So anyway, I know it's going to be a scorcher this week, Adrian,
it is,
in the Northeast.
Dude.
So.
Yeah, and people got to understand, like, the differences, right? So it's supposed to be 102 on Tuesday.
Yep.
Now, we're mildly humid, so... And that is what it is. But of course, if you're not used to 102, now our weather goes from what, in the summer it could be 70 at night, right? Gets up to maybe 80s, high 80s, 90s. Right. Cool. 102, that's a bit much for here.
That is a bit much. Right. I'll be sweating my balls off, as they say. Yes.
That will be happening.
It's definitely going to be happening.
But if you go to other places like Texas, 100 degrees, 102, that's normal.
Yeah.
That's a regular day, right? Now, this is what I found out and I bring up Texas because I just got back from Texas, right? And, I'm barely surviving the walk from the Uber car to the front door of, the hotel, right? But I hear some people from Arizona. Yeah. So Arizona, $110, $120. Oh, yeah. It is so hot now. Fact check, but my understanding is Arizonians and places like that, they're so used to $110, $120 that when it gets down to Texas weather, they're putting on jackets, dude. Right. I'm like, I almost don't understand that, except if you go to Florida, right? If it goes from like 80, 90 to like 70, people are wearing blankets in the office. They wearing, scarves and jackets. I'm like, this is crazy. You got a 20 degree swing and you take all these extreme measures. I'm a shorts and flip-flop guy down to the 40s. Right. Up to whatever, right? The nakedness don't start until like, $110, things like that. But it's just crazy how people react and how the weather affects different people and what's considered hot. Right.
All I know, dude, is every AC in my house was turned on Friday, and I ain't turned them off since, and I don't give a fuck.
Oh, man. Fucking energy company gonna love that those delivery charges.
Whatever, dude.
And that's what they're doing.
Listen,
dude.
I need to feel cool, Adrian. Okay, right. I'm a cool kind of guy. I need to be cool. Okay, so it is what it is.
So in other stuff, speaking of weather, right? We're gonna get into some technology things.
Okay.
So instead of them, using them little rays to cool things off, they're cranking up the heat because guess what? They want that average utility bill to go up, and then you don't have a choice, right? But to pay. So you're paying for what you consume, then you pay for the delivery of it, and because you live in this community, like what is it, HSA or whatever, this little community tax you pay for a house, home association, whatever. Yep. So
where you got to like have your fence painted the same color and the grass cut. And if you don't, we're going to, I could never live in some place like that. Nope. Because I would fight everyone. Like,
exactly.
Fuck you. My fence is going to be orange now, motherfucker. Look at it every day, bitch. Like, it's my fence. Don't look at it then.
Yep.
You don't like it, don't look at it.
Yep. That's it.
Shit. That's the other stuff.
Has zero to do with what we're about to get into.
But you know what? People, there's haters online, right? They say things like, we've heard Marvel shills, we've heard things like that. And my thing is always, then why you watch us? Mm-hmm. And I called this guy out. I'm like, because he said the same shit. You guys are haters. I'm like, yeah, and you're following us. He's like, yeah, and like, okay. I can't, like, if I didn't like something and I thought they suck, like, there's people, we're not for everyone, Adrian. Sure. It's fair, right? Yeah, we're like vegetables.
And most people, but not everyone. Yeah.
We're like vegetables, dude. Not everybody likes vegetables, shit. But I'm like, why are you watching us then? But they watch us to hate us, I guess.
They love to hate us.
That's right. But I figured this out.
Or they hate that they love us.
Yes. There you go. Or they hate us because they ain't us, as they say. But I've figured this out, Adrian, about Only Comics here. We are not here for their entertainment. We are here for our own entertainment.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Fair statement. So anyways, topic of conversation last week. There was a lot of DC stuff we talked about last week for the first time, probably since we started this podcast.
Did we? I don't remember.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's gone now. But and there's more DC stuff this week. James Gunn, he's yapping. Okay. He's yapping as always. Yeah. I think he's trying to ruin the fun for some comic fans, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But somebody asked online on TikTok, why did the DCEU fail? So all these acronyms is make sure we know what's going on, right? Nice. Now, DCEU was Man of Steel, okay? Yeah. It was the Snyderverse, kind of. Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman. You had Suicide Squad. You had Wonder Woman. You had Justice League. You had Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84. So, they had a run, dude.
Yep.
Black Adam's technically part of the DCEU. The Flash, That Atrocity, Blue Beetle, and then the last DCEU movie was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I've never seen.
Actually, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen that one either?
No. The first one was good, though.
You like that?
Yeah.
But as I'm going through these movies, dude, and we're gonna play a little game here. We're gonna compare, okay? Because I just, as crazy as people think we are for leaning Marvel, I think they're that crazy for acting like Marvel isn't that much better than DC, like in general. Now, comic books, that's all. There's so much history of comics, depending on what era, I could see an argument for both sides, right? That's probably it's more personal preference.
Yep.
But looking at quality of movies, there's no one in their right fucking mind that's going to say DCEU. It came in, dumbass acronym too. You really need 4 letters? I'm glad they came to their senses and renamed the new one DCU.
Right.
Just keep it simple. But
it should have been DCSU. Just puts the S for Snyder.
There you go. Yes, DCSUV. I don't know. But no one in their right fucking mind is going to look at that list of movies. There's like 14 of them here. Compare them to the first 14 movies of the MCU and say that they're even close. Like, for starters, why did it fail? The movies weren't that good.
Well, if you're delusional,
you
will say,
you could, you could. But I like to have fun and talk a lot of shit. But I started to like really take a step back, Edge, be a little more mature here, and analyze why did the DCEU fail? Because it did fail. They canceled it. They started a new one, and it's true. I do think that a big part of it were the movies in general. There were a lot of bad movies.
Yeah,
but that doesn't necessarily mean a franchise is going to fail. We've seen some bad movies do pretty well, right? I think the biggest issue was more the fact that they tried to duplicate what Marvel was doing.
Absolutely.
Right?
They tried to focus so much on competing as opposed to putting out good content.
Correct. And this is where I do believe DCU, if the studio execs don't get involved and fuck everything up, let James Gunn build out this universe. Much as I like to, poke fun at him sometimes, I do think what he's doing, like we talked about last week with Superman, that universe, there being, meta humans for over 300 years.
Right.
It's a complete different approach, which so far, that's the best thing I've heard about the DCU. It's going to be different than the MCU.
Okay.
This DCEU it was a copycat of the MCU.
Right.
They wanted to get to Justice League so fast because of the success that the MCU had with Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where you get studio execs that they see the dollar bill and they don't understand. It's like when you see someone who's successful, people don't see the grind and everything that got them there. They just see that mountaintop, right? But you don't see this big ass iceberg down in the water where they went bankrupt, they lost whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They just see that top piece. I think WB saw the Avengers and like, hey, let's do that with Justice League.
Right.
And they rushed it.
Mm.
I mean, think about it. Man of Steel, this movie came out in June of 2013. You've seen this movie?
Yes.
You like this movie?
Yes.
Okay. Like, what would you, 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10? Amazing?
Definitely not amazing.
No, better than mid?
6.5, 7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty good. Not bad. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This movie, I'd honestly give it a 4 or 5. It was not that good.
Right.
I think it was a major miss. And that was where they started, I think, trying to take a shortcut. You had one Superman movie. And then your very next movie, you're introducing Batman. He's fighting Superman. Wonder Woman's there. Aquaman's in the background. Flash is in the background. You got, Lex Luthor. You got Doomsday. All this shit in one movie. To me, that movie was not that good. How did you?
I barely remember it, but which means that it wasn't that good to me.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. It's like all of a sudden you go from one movie with one character to this conglomeration,
right,
of all these characters. Then you got to explain, and then you got to do backstories on all of them. It's like it was crazy. Dude, and the story wasn't even that good.
You had Batman as basically cosplaying as the Terminator.
Yeah.
Killing everyone left and right. Like, it was just, like, the movie started with Batman going, I'm going to kill Superman. Like, holy shit, dude. We're already off the rails here. You look at the MCU, 2008, Iron Man came out. Phenomenal movie.
Yep.
Still holds up to this day.
Absolutely.
The Incredible Hulk. That one I would say is probably a little better than mid. Like, it's not amazing, but I think it gets a little too much hate. I enjoy it. Your boy Edward Norton.
Yep.
So Iron Man came out in May of 2008. Incredible Hulk came out June of 2008. Iron Man 2, May of 2010. Still no Avengers, right? We still haven't really seen anyone cross over. There's some post-credit action going on. Thor came out May of 2011, so the following year. That's where we're introduced to Loki. Captain America, the first Avengers, so Cap's first movie, July of 2011, so 2 more movies. And then May of 2012, Avengers came out. 4 years later. So you had 5 movies, individual characters introduced to the audience. Then you had the Avengers.
Well, but there's also a buildup of other characters. Even though, like, say, Pepper Potts, she wasn't an Avenger. Sure. She was integral to the storyline. Yep. You had the Black Widow introduced, and Iron Man 2. And even though she wasn't integral to those movies individually, she played the part. You knew who she was going into the Avengers. Yeah. So you had more than just 5. So you had movies about 5 characters, but there were, underlying characters that also went into the Avengers, You had
Hawkeye and Thor, right? You had Loki and Thor, who ended up being the main villain of the Avengers. Nick Fury was introduced. Yes, sir. Thunderbolt Ross. Yes, all these characters, dude. Who's the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy? Coulson? Phil Coulson.
Love Coulson.
Dude, he's awesome.
Yep. But you ever see the movie S.H.I.E.L.D.?
The show?
The show, yeah.
I've seen some episodes, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
In fact, Ghost Rider shows up in one of the seasons. I've never seen that episode, but he shows up maybe 3rd or 4th season or something. But all those characters, all those movies, 4 years of movies, then you get the Avengers.
Right.
Then you look at the DCEU, you got Man of Steel in 13, and then Batman vs. Superman is literally like a wannabe Avengers movie.
Right.
You had all these fucking characters. And the Suicide Squad came out in August of that year, the David Ayer version. That movie's okay, probably 5 or 6.
But the thing about it is that the Suicide Squad wasn't a buildup to the Justice League, though. It was an offshoot. Yep. So that was kind of a waste.
Correct. Then you had Wonder Woman in June of 17, and then Justice League came out. We haven't had an Aquaman movie yet. We haven't had a Flash movie yet. Now we ended up having an Atrocity.
Correct.
But they could have made a better movie back. I mean, they just made a bad movie.
Well, it was an atrocity because they were like backpedaling.
Right.
So they put out the big movie when they should have did the buildup of all these characters. I mean, if you're going to follow the script, follow the script.
Right.
Build up the individuals and then come out with the team.
Yeah.
Which they didn't do.
Right. Then you had Shazam. I've never seen Shazam. You seen the first one?
I saw the first one. It was tolerable.
Okay.
The second one, because of the first one, I couldn't even watch the second one. So it was one of those atrocities.
Birds of Prey came out in 2020. Now, COVID kind of killed this movie, but I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was better than the first and the second Suicide Squad movie. Wonder Woman 84. I've not seen this. I've been told not to.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Then you had the Snyder cut and on. Restore the Snyderverse. Jack Snyder, he's my daddy. And we've seen that, 8-hour movie. Like, yeah, it was a slightly better version of a shitty movie.
Right.
So I'll give them that. Then they rebooted Suicide Squad with The Suicide Squad, introduced the Peacemaker. Black Adam came out in 2022. Like, they're all over the place. Right. Another Shazam movie. Shazam and Black Adam never interact. How does that make any sense?
Exactly.
I mean, these two are like, 1A, 1B in the comics, right?
Exactly. Then they had the post credit in Black Adam with Superman, and those two never interact.
Right.
So
The Flash, Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle was decent, and I haven't seen the latest Aquaman. So all over the place.
Right.
So why do they fail? Movies not that good.
Right.
And all over the place. So real quick, this isn't really thumbs up, thumbs down, but it's going to be a little variation. Okay. So we'll go through real quick each of these first 14 movies, or 14 from the DCEU that, basically put the final nail in their coffin, and the first 14 from the MCU. Okay. Right. So Man of Steel, would you give this movie a thumbs up?
I would say thumbs up.
Let us see both of us.
There you go.
All right, so you would say thumbs up?
I say thumbs up for that.
Batman versus Superman.
I
gotta go thumbs down.
Thumbs down. I've never seen Batman act like that before, so it's like
it's kind of like the Thor split. Like, does he ever do that? Probably not.
Probably not.
No. Suicide Squad. I would give that one a thumbs up.
I mean,
there's like thumbs in the middle.
yeah, I would say that. Okay. I'll go with thumbs up.
Okay.
There's no medium in here.
All right. So so far we only have one thumbs down.
Yep.
Okay. Wonder Woman, the first one. Thumbs up?
Oh, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Justice League. I'm giving it a thumbs down. Aquaman, the first Aquaman.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Shazam.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Birds of Prey. I give that a thumbs up.
I have to go lean on you because I didn't see it.
Wonder Woman 84.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. So we had 3 thumbs down so far. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Thumbs down.
4 thumbs down. Black Adam.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Shazam! Fury of Gods.
Didn't see it.
We'll give that a thumbs down just by virtue. The Flash. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
5 thumbs down. Blue Beetle.
Thumbs up.
I'll give that a thumbs up. And Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. I'm going to say thumbs down because it didn't generate enough interest for me to want to go see it.
Exactly.
So,
I agree.
So that's like 6 thumbs down out of 14 movies. That's not a good percentage. Okay?
So let's say half.
Right.
Because I think you missed one thumbs down in there somewhere.
Okay, so 6. Yep. Like if you're in a relationship and your wife is faithful 50% of the time, that's not good, right? That's not good.
No.
I mean, if you're got a car and it works 50% of the time, not good.
Not good.
So all right. So 6 thumbs down or something like that.
Something like that.
All right, let's go to the MCU. Iron Man, thumbs up. The Incredible Hulk.
Thumbs up.
I'm going to thumbs up. Iron Man 2.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. The first Thor.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Captain America, First Avenger.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Avengers.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. We're across the board already, dude. That's how many is that? That's 6 movies. Iron Man 3. As much as I like it as a Christmas movie, actually, no, I'm going to give that a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thor, The Dark World, thumbs down. Fucking way down. The black elves or the giant elves or the midget elves, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Okay. Well, we're stuck in the middle on that one. So, Captain America, Winter Soldier, thumbs up. Guardians of the Galaxy,
thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Age of Ultron, Avengers 2.
Thumbs up.
I give it thumbs up. The first Ant-Man.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I mean, dude, we can just keep going. Captain America Civil War, thumbs up. Doctor Strange, thumbs up. Guardians 2, I'd say thumbs up, but if we really want, maybe we'll say that's the thumbs down.
Okay.
So we got 2.
Okay.
Out of and we even went further. Then you can go to Spider-Man Homecoming, thumbs up. Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther. So why did the DCU fail? Because it fucking sucked.
I mean, they got 50%. Yeah. So it's not like fucking sucks.
Okay.
But it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
If they were like 75%, that would be.
It's kind of like, a post-shower shat, Adrian.
Yes.
You just got out the shower.
Yes.
You got a shat, but you're like, damn it, I just got out the shower.
Yep.
So the DCEU is a post-shower shat, is what it is.
Damn.
Yes.
That's another t-shirt too. Post-shower shat.
Yes, I love it. And the MCU is the shit. How about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, you biased. I'm not biased, dude. One's just fucking better than the other.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, would you want, if I said, Adrian, I'm going to have you over, dude, I'm going to make some steak. Do you want cube steak or a nice, fat, juicy sirloin?
Definitely not cube.
Right, definitely not cube. One is better than the other.
Absolutely.
Are you biased against cube? No, cube steak sucks, dude. Like, can we?
It has its place.
Yeah, it has its place. Just,
and DC has its place too.
Sure.
As a subdivision of Marvel.
Correct. But it's like, I don't...
Let them take over the cartoons and shit.
Seriously, dude. But no, I'm not Marvel biased. They have just been better in the stuff we talk about predominantly on this podcast.
And it sounds like they put out more content too, dude.
Absolutely. Now, you could argue now, I wouldn't disagree that the quality now is not what it was beginning of Infinity War.
Right.
It's still better than a lot of other movie franchises.
Sure.
But is it a good time for the DCU to gain some traction and build their own unit? Absolutely. There's plenty, as you always talk about the pie, dude. There's plenty of room.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of room for everybody.
Absolutely. The pie does not diminish by the number of people that partake.
Right. So DC, maybe you should start partaking.
Right.
And I mean, I'll be the first to tell everyone how much I love the DCU if it's good.
Absolutely.
I hope it is.
Absolutely.
So anyways, all right, let's hop into some news and rumors, Adrian. There's a lot going on this week. So Marvel Legends, this is a division of their toy production, I guess. Like, so the millionaire back there, millionaire, however the fuck you want to say it. And this Magneto helmet back here, these are all Marvel Legends items, okay? They make you ever seen the action figures that Marvel Legends make where they take like characters on screen and they do kind of an exact replica of that individual?
Sure.
So believe it or not, they have to make these in advance, right? Like they don't just, movie comes out tomorrow, they don't put them out. So there's been a leak for Avengers Doomsday Marvel Legends figures, which people are kind of putting two and two together and assuming that, well, if this is the lineup for Marvel Legends for Doomsday, that probably means that these characters are going to be main characters in the movie, right?
Possibly.
You wouldn't necessarily make a Legends figure of a background character that's going to be in the movie for 14 seconds.
Right. I mean, you think practicality. You're not going to make an engine for a car and never put the engine in the car, right? Because you think in mass production, right? Makes sense.
So like if Deadpool Wolverine, for example, I don't think there was a Blade Legends figures in there for 4 minutes, but I'm sure there was a Deadpool, there was a Wolverine, there was a Cassandra Nova, so on and so forth. So a list found its way online as things seem to go that way a lot of times. People just leak everything now.
Everything, dude.
Like, can y'all not keep shit under wraps?
Right. Well, it's that I am nothing factor. I am nothing. I do nothing. So in order for me to feel like something, I got to go and steal somebody else's shit. I don't know.
Okay. We'll go with that for today. You should definitely fact check just about everything we say here. So, all right, this movie is coming out in 2026, Avengers Doomsday. We talked a lot about the rumors, here and there. But the Legends figures due to be released that year. I'm gonna list them off for you. So number 1, Doctor Doom, no surprise, right?
No surprise, yeah.
Thor, number 2.
Yeah, but Doctor Doom, right? Did they correct the color? They got to get the color right.
Hopefully,
yeah. That lime green is not it.
Yeah, you're stuck on that reveal. I don't think that has anything. I think that was just, hey, look what we're doing.
I'm just saying. Yeah, get it right. Get it right.
True.
Color correcting digitally if you have to.
Now, Thor, a character we've heard a lot about recently, that would make sense. Mr. Fantastic with Herbie.
Yep.
So obviously they're not gonna, cast Pedro Pascal in this role and not have him be a big part of these movies. So
my man means nothing without the android.
He's got to have Herbie with him, dude. Invisible Woman.
Okay. But she's by herself.
She's by herself. Absolutely. Human Torch. The Thing. Cyclops. So this is, we've heard the rumor that James Marsden's back to play Cyclops.
I'm cool with that.
I would like for him to get his, kind of like, Wolverine's a little different because Wolverine had a series of movies, but we said this when Deadpool Wolverine came out, that was the most Wolverine he's ever been on screen.
Right.
I'd like to see Cyclops get his justice here too.
Sure.
Like, let's see him really be Cyclops.
Right. I mean, I'm okay with any character having a one-off.
Right.
Right. It doesn't even have to play into anything else bigger, but just get a proper comeuppance.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like James Marsden as Cyclops. I just think the story didn't do him any favors.
No, not at all.
Gambit. So your boy Channing Tatum's gonna be back as Gambit, Adrian.
I mean, there's not much of a storyline. The whole film frame going to be filled up with his fucking head.
Captain America, which is obviously Sam Wilson, which makes sense. I mean,
sure.
As much as that movie, I think the movie was probably very polarizing reaction. Like half the world loved it, half the world hated it.
Sure.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and I think he did a good job of embodying that character.
Well, I got it. Some in the hidden gem.
Oh, snap.
Which might, maybe if they follow this, this theme, people might be getting what they want.
Okay, all right. And then last but not least, Shang-Chi, which is a movie I actually revisited recently. You saw it for the first time recently. That movie is actually really good.
Right.
A lot better than I expected. I was never like a huge Shang-Chi fan in the comics.
Nor was I.
I just knew he was a badass martial artist, but dude, he can throw down, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's something that when I watching that, I'm like, I'd love to see Shang-Chi interact with Daredevil, Elektra, the Hand, all the like from that kung fu like standpoint. I mean, he's a badass.
Right. I don't know. It's funny. I never really got into the martial art comic book characters. I mean, they were cool, but not as bad as those 60s, Chinese karate movies where they jumping over lakes and running across treetops.
Or even my boy Jackie Chan, bro. Remember Rumble in the Bronx and all those movies?
That was nothing compared. Dude, I'm talking about old school movies.
Yep. But all right, so this group of people, Doom, obviously main villain, but this is, Avengers / Fantastic Four side. There's a lot they can do with these characters. A lot of story there. I mean, you got some X-Men from another universe. You got Fantastic Four from another universe. And then you got characters we're used of, like Thor, Chris Hemsworth's Thor is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
He can carry a movie himself. We've seen him do it.
Right.
Now you have him on the screen with Sam Wilson, Shang-Chi, Gambit, Cyclops, and then this new group of Fantastic Four. Dude, that's a hell of a lineup.
Absolutely.
For your main characters. Shang-Chi, I watched this movie, like I said, this past weekend, and we were talking on other stuff briefly about dragons.
Yeah.
Right? Like why is the dragon on a Chinese calendar? And we see in this movie, dude, the dragon exists there. But that whole fight at the end, dude, was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And one of the things I really liked about this movie was the way the power looked on screen, the way the rings and all those things, because it's one thing to be able to draw something, but to take these made up powers with these characters and be able to bring that to life on screen, it doesn't always translate.
Right.
We've seen some very bad iterations of powers and things like that.
Yeah, like the whole hula hoop thing.
Yes, that. Some of the stuff in the Flash, like the goofy running, the camera's always got to be attached to the head, so we're all in this I don't even know. It's just it's insane. But that was done really well here. The way the powers, the rings, when he's fighting his dad and stuff like that. But
I just thought of something, and as always, every delay is extending the length of this thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what they did with Black Adam. So out of all the DC movies, for me, at the top is Black Adam.
Okay.
Then I put Aquaman, and then Blue Beetle. To me, everything else is kind of shit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: in Black Adam, they did speed. So well, but they did it by slowing it down.
Right.
They didn't do all of this, trying to make you perceive, super speed because you're not going to see it anyway.
Right.
So they slowed things down to make you perceive speed.
Correct.
Which they didn't do with the Flash.
I don't know what they did.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think the powers in general in Black Adam were done better than most of the DCU movies.
Absolutely, dude.
That one thing though, I joke a lot about the Snyder Cut. I do think he did a good job of that piece. Like with Superman, you saw some of that same speed stuff, the power. Some of the slow-mo stuff with Wonder Woman, and it's a little too
slow-mo.
Yeah. No, like I was when she blocks the bullet. Dude.
Oh, okay,
that little thing. No, not. This is for adults only. No. But I think he did a good job of that. He just relied on the slow-mo a little too much.
Correct.
So, anyways, also the Avengers, or actually, I'm sorry, the dates for these movies. So Doomsday, we know this got pushed back recently.
Yep.
December 18th of 26, and then Secret Wars is positioned for the next year, December 17th of 27. And I saw a rumor that Secret Wars may be broken up into 2 parts, which that doesn't sound crazy to me.
Right.
I mean, that's a big story to tell, right? Does that seem like too much, 2 movies, or do you think that would work?
I think it'll work, dude.
Like, I mean, there's a lot to it, and when you think about where we are in the MCU right now, we've not had an Avengers movie for this whole series. So to go Doomsday, Secret Wars, maybe Doomsday is not Infinity War. Maybe Doomsday is the Age of Ultron movie, and maybe Secret Wars is broken up into 2 parts, like Infinity War was, and then becoming Endgame. Because at one point, Infinity War was going to be 2 movies, and then they renamed, part 2 to Endgame.
Right. I just hope they do it well.
Yes. Real quick, this is the entire cast that's been announced so far for Doomsday.
All right.
You got Ant-Man, Paul Rudd. You got Shang-Chi. I'm just going to go over their character names. Loki. You got Sentry. So Sentry will be back. You got Yelena. So basically all the new Avengers. Falcon. Ian McKellen is Magneto. Bucky. Winston Duke is M'Baku. Thor, like we said, Kelsey Grammer coming back as Beast. Cyclops, Gambit, U.S. Agent. Did you know Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son? The one who plays U.S. Agent?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that till the other day.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. People with the same last name are related sometimes. Sometimes. Now when I see him, I was watching Tombstone over the weekend too. I'm like that. So that's his little boy,
I almost got into Tombstone this weekend, but couldn't do it.
Shit.
Didn't have the energy.
That makes sense. Sue Storm, Rebecca Romaine back as Mystique, Patrick Stewart back as Professor X. You got Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Leticia Wright as Shuri. You got, I'm not even going to attempt to say his name right now, but the dude who plays Namor is back. Which I really hope we see some Namor, Reed, and Sue interaction. Like, I know you're not huge on this guy's portrayal, but it's like, he's the Namor we got right now.
Right.
There's a lot of good comic stories to be told with Namor.
Absolutely.
So I really hope I hope he's a big piece of that movie, honestly. What's Her Name's back is Ghost, Hannah John Kamen. You got Johnny Storm, you got Red Guardian back, you got Doom, Robert Downey Jr., you got The Thing, and then Anthony Mackie is Cap. So a lot of people, there's just so many cool interactions that could possibly happen in there.
I'm wondering why they brought the Red Guardian back the way they did.
Like all old and fat,
bearded and stuff. It's like why? I mean, outside of the comedy factor,
right?
I'm just curious why they made that decision.
You know how it is, dude. He's Russian. They're not going to portray him as a badass in a film.
There's that.
All back in the 90s, every villain was Asian type shit, or even before that, every robber's black. It's probably some of that. It's probably a little bit of that.
Interesting.
Yes.
They don't want to portray a Russian version of a Captain America.
Of course not. A badass from Russia? Come on, dude. Last time that happened, it was the Rocky movie,
Right.
Rocky still won. So
exactly.
All right, moving on. We got some Spider-Man news. A few weeks back, we talked about the Hulk, Bruce Banner's Hulk, rumored to be a big part of the Spider-Man movie, right? Okay. Which I'm all for that.
Sure.
There's another rumor though, and this is not saying that the Bruce Banner, this doesn't contradict it. It's kind of goes along with that rumor.
All right.
So Spider-Man versus Hulk, I would assume, based in the MCU, he's going to probably need a little bit of help, right? Fight Hulk. I mean, it's a big task to take on Savage Hulk by yourself. Well, he may be getting some help from a fella who has worked with his attorney in the past. The Punisher, Jon Bernthal, is rumored to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day alongside Spidey, team up to take on the Hulk, dude.
Love it.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm all for that. I hope this one is I hope this is true. I hope this rumor does come true. But that'd be a fun combo in this movie, dude.
Right.
Which it seems like that's what they're doing in this multiverse phase. Is we saw it with Deadpool and Wolverine, right? 2 characters kind of sharing the screen. We've seen it, even in the Cap movie, you had Falcon in there, you had Red Hulk. It seems like at least we're going to get maybe another team up here with this movie. Which Dude, I'm all for that.
Right. You know, I used to think that until Bernthal, I used to think that an actor should pursue all different types of acting, you know, create a range.
Right, right.
But this cat, he's done Punisher so well and Punisher like characters,
right,
like in The Accountant 2, right?
Yep.
He can be
That's right, he's in that
he can be that guy.
Yeah.
First of all, he can play Punisher in any Marvel movie, right? Including, you know, so the Punisher, the Daredevil, the Avengers, Spider-Man particularly.
Yep.
So Punisher can show up anyway. So if he's typecast to this hunter-killer, I mean, he can still thrive. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, I like it, dude. I think there's a good dynamic with Spider-Man and Punisher. I mean, Spider-Man's a joke cracking, you know, everything's fun, everyone having a good time, and Punisher's a no nonsense, no bullshit.
Right.
Spider-Man doesn't kill, Punisher does, so you're probably gonna see some friction there. But they have a common friend, right? I mean, Matt Murdock was Peter Parker's attorney in No Way Home.
Right.
Dude, we don't know if he knows he's Spider-Man, he's Daredevil, vice versa. Do you think with the spider sense, he could tell that Matt had something a little different with him, or no? No.
I think it's more likely that Matt knew who Peter was than Peter knew who Matt was. Because the spider sense warns him of danger. It doesn't, it's not a extra sensory perception in the respects of, you know, audio, visual, smell, touch, taste, things like that.
Okay.
Whereas Murdoch's is, you know, everything's heightened to the nth degree.
Yeah.
And he can, you know, track you by heartbeat or footstep or something like that.
Got it. Now what about, he grabs the brick. The guy, they throw the brick through the window. And if I remember the scene properly, Matt's back is to the window. Obviously he's blind and he catches the brick. So you think that could have tipped him off something that, like, dude, something's going on with this guy. There's no way a blind guy caught the brick without, you know, knowing it was coming.
It was like the scene in Mr. and Mrs. Smith where, you know, Mrs. Smith, you know, they're both assassins, but they don't know it, but they kind of suspect. And then they're having dinner and Mr. Smith like knocks the glass off because he suspects, knocks the glass off the table. And then Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Angelina Mrs. Smith grabs the glass, looks at him, and then intentionally drops the glass. And so he gets up, honey, then they start destroying the house because now they're trying to kill each other. So yes.
Yeah, so he probably picked up on something. I doubt he knows my man's Daredevil, but he knows, like, yo, there's something different about this fella. But yeah, I agree. I think Matt probably knows that he's Spider-Man. You know, he's so maybe that's the connection, you know? Maybe Spider-Man's up in a situation where he needs some help, or Hulk's just destroying shit through New York. And that's the thing about it. You don't need a lot of explanation. Like, Hulk could be destroying a city block, and maybe it's the same block, you know, Punisher is hiding out in.
Or Matt's just a cheap ass attorney, that, you know, and everybody's getting around to him. However, again, another reference to the hidden gem.
Oh, snap.
Matt shows up in that too. So
damn. We get this. You're fast forward to get the hidden gem right now. No, we're not. You're gonna stay tuned, motherfucker. You gotta wait like everybody else.
That's it.
God. Shout out to all the interns out there, by the way. If we said other stuff a lot. If you're new with us, other stuff is our other podcast where we get into a lot of the conspiracy theories. You got some hidden tech you're going to talk about today. We talked about just about everything: the Bible, the pyramids, and all things that may get one of us or both of us abducted by aliens at some point or another.
Absolutely.
Okay? I just hope it's not the anal probing kind of aliens.
Yeah, if it is, you first.
Damn. So anyways, you can check out that every Wednesday on YouTube, most weeks, sometimes Thursday. You can sign up. The link is in the description. It's all $4.99 a month. You get an extra podcast every single week. And you get this podcast a little bit early most weeks. So most weeks, dude. I mean, actually every week, but some weeks it's like an hour or even too early. So we're just trying to, you know what, dude, we got no one in the booth, no interns here. It's a struggle, Adrian. I don't know how we do it every week.
Oh, man.
I just give a lot of credit to our sponsors.
That's it.
Ourselves.
And through sickness and health, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But in the comics, this combo, like, we've seen this before, Spider-Man and Punisher. We've seen them cross paths. I believe we've even seen them both take on Hulk together in the comics. So I mean, I think I'd love for this to happen. I think this means that if this comes true, it will be more of a grounded story, right? Like it's not going to be another multiverse. Like leave that alone with Spider-Man. Y'all did it, knocked it out of the park. No need to revisit. So, I'm gonna say a name, Adrian. You're probably not gonna know who she is. You ever heard of Sabrina Carpenter?
We talking about a character or an actress?
Neither. A singer slash actress.
Like a real person?
Yeah, real person. Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter?
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard of her.
You heard of her?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to our macro 3. All right. Go to our super source, Adrian. Check this out. So Sabrina Carpenter is rumored to be, or MCU is eyeing her to play Dazzler in the MCU.
I can see that.
You see that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Taylor Swift was originally rumored, but here's the thing about Sabrina.
Well, they're gonna move Swift over to Poison Ivy.
Oh, because you said that. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Here's the biggest difference, though, and why I'm in favor of Sabrina over Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's a singer.
Yeah.
She ain't an actress.
Right.
Now, could people learn how to act? Sure.
Sure.
Sabrina Carpenter was an actress, and I know this because my daughter's a big fan. So she was an actress first or at the same time, but she's actually been in movies and shows and things. So she has that background already and looks the part. So
yeah,
by all means, you know.
I think she looks more Dazzler than Taylor Swift.
I think so too.
I think, you know, I'm not a, what they call them, Swifties. I'm not a
You're
Swiftie.
not a Swiftie, no?
Nah, absolutely not. It's nonsense. But anyway, but I do think that she could have played the part, but definitely Poison Ivy. But Sabrina Carpenter, yes.
Let's do it. You got our vote. So what do you guys think? Sabrina or Taylor? Are you a Swiftie or not? So, all right, moving on. James Gunn, here we go. You familiar with the term pretentious, Adrian?
Yes.
Yes, it's like, you know, I think I'm better than you because I'm so artsy and I appreciate the art in it and you're just more stupid than me, right? So I think that he's being a little pretentious here. So he's fucking talking and
still.
Yeah, they say I'm a yapper.
Right.
This motherfucker hasn't shut the fuck up since he got the job. You know, Jesus.
It's the hair gel.
Yeah, I guess. So he was talking to Rolling Stone. Okay. When do we get on Rolling Stone?
Right. Wait a minute. Why is Rolling Stone popping up again? When they,
their magazine?
When they,
dude.
like, you know, trying to
not
control
the
the world.
Group.
No, I know, but weren't they trying to control the world with their stuff last week or something?
Here they go. Here they're at it again, dude. So they're talking about Superman, which comes out in a few weeks. I saw a new trailer for this when I went to see How to Train Your Dragon this past weekend, and dude, I'm thinking this is gonna be a good movie, Superman. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
As much as I'm ever gonna look forward to anything Superman, unless like outside of Batman whooping his ass. So he says this: I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see things online. Who would beat whom? Homelander or Superman or fucking whatever, Adam Warlock or Brightburn. And I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest fucking conversation. Okay. This is like, bro, let the kids have fun. We are comic book fans, right? He is a movie director. We're different.
Of comic
movies predominantly, right? Yeah. We're different. He's in it for, let me make the best movie, which is fine.
Sure.
But one of the most fun aspects of being a comic book fan are conversations like that.
Correct.
Hey, who would beat so-and-so? The stupidest fucking conversation? Motherfucker, this is the reason why you have a job, because there's people like us having the stupidest fucking conversation of, would Batman beat Superman? Could Iron Man beat Black Panther? So on and so forth. It's called having fucking fun.
Right.
My man's, he's trying to unalive the fun, Adrian.
Hey.
I mean, in your opinion, are those the stupidest fucking conversations?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely. That's I mean, if you want to delve into stupidity about something that's imaginary,
right?
I mean, the crossovers would be stupid, right?
Correct.
I mean, wow, we're merging fucking universes and blah, 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 but we have Kanye West, which lives in both universes. But it's all made up.
Right.
So therefore, let your imagination flow. And if you think all this is stupid conversations, turn the reins over to somebody else.
Correct. If it's so stupid, why are you making these movies then?
Right.
I mean, aren't you doing the same thing in your movie when you have Superman fight Godzilla? You're doing a who would win, right? You just happen to be the one making the movie. That's cool. But we're stupid for going Homelander or Superman. No, it's a fun conversation.
He's just in it so he can always be in front of the camera so he can promote his hair gel line. Fucker.
Dude, he's get under my skin today, Adrian. Like, don't ruin the fun, dude. There's enough depressing shit going on. I mean, look, fucking half the world's being bombed right now. There's all kinds of shit going on. Yeah. Let us have some fun and go, yeah, Superman will get his ass whooped by Adam Warlock. Right. I don't know.
Would he? Terrier dog or some shit.
Who would? Matter of fact, let's be stupid. Okay, let's be stupid together, Adrian. Superman versus Adam Warlock. Who's winning that?
That's kind of, well, which version? I mean, the Nerf pussy that was on Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, not that one. The base comic.
I think probably Adam Warlock.
Okay. All right. Superman Homelander. Now.
Homelander.
Homelander.
Yeah.
Because he's going to.
Yeah, he's going to do some underhanded shit.
Correct.
First of all.
Yes. But, I mean, people got on our shit last time. Like, I do know that Superman is more powerful than Homelander.
Right.
It's just those restraints that he's probably not going to flip that switch. Homelander don't give a fuck.
Right.
And this wasn't on there, but the Sentry we just were introduced to in Thunderbolts versus Superman that we've seen on screen. Maybe let's take Man of Steel Superman. Who wins that?
Sentry.
I think Sentry too. Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially if he does
before he turns over. Right.
Oh, he'll beat him before the Void.
Yeah.
But if he goes into the Void, dude, it's a wrap.
Exactly.
Yep. So there you go. We just had
he'll put him in Martha-verse, and it'll be a wrap. Martha. Which Martha?
Every room there's just people named Martha. No more Martha. Well, there you go, James Gunn. We just had the stupidest fucking conversation in the world, and I had fun. Did you have fun doing it?
I had fun. Matter of fact, create Martha-verse. There we go. Martha-verse.
There you go. So here's my, straight up, I'm gonna shoot you straight, James. Here's my plea to you, Jameson. Just let us have our fucking fun, bro. Don't try to unalive the fun, okay? Right. Go make your movie, and we'll tell you if your movie's fun. How about that? So, anyways, speaking of Joe, I got back James Gunn right here, dude. Wow. But this one, this one I'm like, what's that saying? A broken clock's right twice a day or something? Yeah, so it's something like that. So James Gunn, he calls BS on fans wanting Battinson as DCU's Batman. So somebody tagged James in some article, and the guy's exact words were, all of us DC fans want this. And the article was about the benefits of taking Battinson and bringing him into the DCU, which I am not a fan of.
Nor am I.
No, like we've not. So
it was not all.
Exactly.
Right off the cuff.
And that was his response was all would seem to be pushing it. So you know what people call us biased? I'm not biased.
Nah.
James Gunn said one thing really stupid. This one, you get this, James Gunn.
Right.
Okay. So you went from here. Okay. That means bad boy. And you went from here. Good job. Good boy.
And you like Battinson as
I
that
love
Batman,
Battinson as,
but not in the DC.
No. Let's get a whole new one.
Right.
Let's keep like the Battinson verse. I just made that up right on the spot. Yes.
Let's create it. Let's create more verses.
You got the Martha verse, you got the Battinson verse, you got the James Gunn's verse.
Yep.
But I like that as a dark standalone, like noir style.
Right. And like first years, Batman. Because he doesn't have the bulk. He doesn't have that matured look, which is what people think about when they think about Batman.
And it wouldn't make sense. So like in the DCU, meta humans have been around for 300 years. Well, there's no indication that meta humans exist in the Battinson verse.
Correct.
So let's not retcon and pretend. You're gonna ruin, I think, what attracted a lot of people to this Batman film. That noir, that crime drama, that grounded, like, let's let them do their thing there. Get your own damn Batman.
Right.
Which I think he's on that side. Like all's pushing it, dude. So another James Gunn dude. So remember in the Superman trailer originally, there was a shot. Actually, go to our super source real quick. Remember this shot?
Yeah.
The like selfie cam. Everyone's like, it's CGI. Oh my God, it's so bad. Before I even get into the news here, when you first saw that, did you like it? Did you think it was goofy? What'd you think?
I didn't think about it until everybody started bringing attention to it, quite frankly.
Right.
I mean, it's a Superman shot. You got to show him flying at some point.
Yep.
Nobody was bitching about when Christopher Reeve did similar shots back in the day.
Right.
Even though Christopher Reeve looked better at it than this. I don't know what this is.
Damn.
But anyway.
Okay. But the shot itself didn't bother, because I think that it was like selfie cam. It was like, almost like the camera, like a GoPro shot, pretty much.
Okay.
Camera's on his head where only things move. Everything else behind him is moving.
Yeah.
I think it did look a little goofy. It wasn't like, I wasn't upset about it like a lot of people.
Right.
I also, if you've ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which James Gunn directed, there's a very similar shot with Adam Warlock.
Sure.
Right. So, but you can drop that.
I think we're overanalyzing this.
Yes.
Like way overanalyzing this.
Well, everyone was. So James Gunn actually removed that shot from the movie. So he says that, first of all, when they were first trying to say there was all this CGI, he said there's absolutely zero CG in his face. People's faces can look different when you put on a wide angle. That's what it's a wide angle lens up close. So it kind of gives that kind of, snow dome effect or whatever. He says that, so this is him recently to Entertainment Weekly. It was a TV commercial and it wasn't a finished visual effect shot. So part of him flying, it was a photograph of his face, yada, yada. Basically, he goes on some nonsense, but kind of just says that, you know what, after looking at it and after hearing everyone talk shit about it, it's not my favorite shot, so I took it out.
Wait a minute. So he accepts everyone, which is all.
Correct.
For the shot, but he doesn't accept all for Battinson. I'm confused. I'm confused on his interpretation of, the English language. Just saying.
Though this one, it was, he even didn't, that one got by him. He forgot to look at it closely, is what he said. Yeah, so he's doing very political like it. I didn't know it was in there. I didn't look at it too closely, even though I analyzed every frame of the trailer, but maybe that one got by me, so...
That sounds like a senator voting for a bill, but then they saying, well, I didn't look at page 999,
correct.
And, between paragraphs 8 and 13.
It sounds like Ted Cruz when he was being asked about the population of Iraq. I don't know. Why would I know that? I don't know, because you're trying to invade the country. Maybe I want to know how many fucking people live there, right? Like, if we're going to rob a bank, Adrian, I want to know, how many people are working? Where's the alarm? That kind of shit, you know? Not that I know anything about that. I'm just saying. I saw the movie The Town once. That was a good one.
Yeah.
So anyways, he took it out. The fans got to him, Adrian. So, all right, moving on. Marvel television, Marvel TV. We haven't had a Marvel show in a little bit. Ironheart, you wouldn't know this by their marketing if we didn't tell you. It hit streaming June 24th, dude. So Marvel put together or Disney Plus did this, a recommended pre-watch for Ironheart. And the reason I want to talk about this is I think when you get a list like this, it kind of affects your expectations for the show. It not affects, it gives you kind of a indication of where they're going to go in this show, right? If I said, hey, watch these 3 things first, then oh shit, they're probably going to pull some elements of these shows or movies into this show, okay?
Right.
So this is their recommended pre-watch, Iron Man 1 through 3, which I don't know about you, but I've seen all those movies probably a dozen times. So I'm not going to rewatch those, but which makes sense, right? Ironheart, you probably should see Iron Man. There's probably going to be some story elements from those movies that are incorporated in here, right? Doctor Strange 1 and 2. So if I said to you, hey, you should watch Doctor Strange before Ironheart, would that sound strange to you? Not, no pun intended. No. Okay. We've seen The Hood is featured in this show, so we probably have some.
Wait a minute, so they had like a whole city neighborhood in a movie called The Hood?
No, the character.
Oh, okay, got it.
No, not like they're back in the hood. No, but actually, I mean, to that point,
see that comment was nonsense,
right? So, but Doctor Strange 1 and 2, you got the Hood in this movie. He's got some magical powers, right? So you can probably see the connection there. Black Panther 1 and 2. Well, Ironheart is, as painful as that second movie is, Ironheart was introduced in that movie, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then they reference What If, because there's some What If episode with her, which I'm probably never going to watch that show again. But we've seen all these. So I wanted to, they also released the episode titles for these for the show. There's 6 episodes, so it's a short show.
Okay.
Kind of like that was one of our downfalls of like Daredevil Born, or not Daredevil. We were watching Last of Us. Like, dude, where's the rest of the episodes? Right. It seems a little short. That could be a good thing.
Yeah, but Ellie's performance, it seemed a little long.
Absolutely. I'm going to read this little blurb, a description of the show. So, after being expelled from MIT and stripped of her tech, teen genius Riri Williams returns to Chicago. A chance encounter leads her into orbit of a dangerous crew, and when she uses a brain mapping device to repair her broken suit, she accidentally brings back a hologram AI of her dead best friend. So that sounds pretty intriguing. Sounds different. Yeah. I like it. And it you pick up right where they kind of left off in Black Panther 2. She was at MIT. But she's out flying her suit around, fighting everyone, and they're like, "We don't want that here, do we? We just want you to go to class and move on. You can't be like trying to want to be Avenger while you're in school."
Right.
This show is going to be released in 2 parts. I like this. How do you feel about this? So the first 3 episodes, actually go to our new shot here, Super Source. So this is the episode list. Yep. The first 3 episodes are going to be released June 24th. So that's this couple days. Those are titled "Take Me Home," "Will the Real Natalie Please Stand Up?" and "We in Danger, Girl." Okay, We in Danger. And then July 1st, the final 3 episodes. So 2 parts instead of waiting week by week.
Right.
And those episodes, Bad Magic, Karma's a Glitch, and The Past is the Past. Now, you probably can't see this from where you're sitting. Neither can I, but you have to trust me on this. In the second batch of episodes, the second episode, Karma's a Glitch, the M has a little red outline behind it. So people are saying it's a little Easter egg, Adrian.
Oh, I see that.
You see it from there?
Yeah.
Okay, you got some good eyes, dude. You be eating a lot of carrots, or?
No, they actually. So so if I can see that, and my eyes are getting bad, that means that I had the super soldier serum, and because I'm getting older, it's kind of going out, so I'm going back to normal.
You're like Isaiah Bradley, dude.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, not at all. Trust me, my body tells me every day.
Okay, you're like past where he's at. Okay, you're like Red Guardian level of super serum.
There we go.
Damn, they gave you the Russian version, dude. That's fucked up.
It is.
Shit. So what people are saying, you can drop that. What people are alluding to is that this Easter egg is for Mephisto. You got the M, you got little red. Mephisto's red, right?
Right.
Who has been rumored to show up in this show. So, all right, I know I went through a lot there. How do you feel about the show being dropped in 2 parts, 3 episodes apiece?
I'm cool with it.
I like it.
If it's good, it's going to be good. I want all the content faster than sooner than later.
Right.
If it's bad, I want all the content sooner than later. Get it over with.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it, dude. I think that also because these shows they still feel like long movies. They don't really feel like episodic TV shows. They feel like I should watch 3 of them at one time, so and also, if you remember, Adrian, because you were here when I said this, I suggested that they start doing this. I suggested that don't drop them every week.
Right.
Drop the whole thing at once. Drop it in a few parts.
Absolutely.
And they listened again. And I don't know about you, but I forgot to check the mailbox this morning, but I have not seen a check in there from Disney or WB or any of these fuckers.
Exactly. Any of them.
I'm going to start writing myself checks, just pretend that I'm getting them from Disney. All right, moving on. Another Disney show, another Disney Plus, Vision Quest. Remember we talked about this a little bit?
Yep.
You got James Spader's coming back as Ultron. We've heard that Jacosta's been casted. We've heard that we haven't discussed this yet. Friday and Edith. Okay, when I say those names, Friday is an AI,
right?
Tony built. So is Edith. No, Edith is the one from the glasses that he left Peter Parker in Far From Home.
It's all an extension of Jarvis. So
yeah, true. Jarvis was the OG. So is Jarvis like the father?
Yeah,
he's our father. Yeah. Peace be with you. But Edith, we saw in the MCU as the AI in Spider-Man suit, glasses, or whatever it was.
Right.
So there's some talk of these AIs being portrayed by human characters, human versions of the AIs in this show. Okay, which is why Tania Miller was casted as Jocasta. And the reason why this is in the news though is there's they're rumored to be working through a few different options for an ending right now. And one of those options is Billy Maximoff and Ghost Agatha from Agatha All Along show back up. Okay. The second option, though, would feature the return of Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch.
Surprise.
If I had to pick between those two, Billy and Agatha, Scarlet Witch.
Right.
Come on, dude. You got cube steak, you got filet mignon.
There you go.
I'm gonna go with the filet. I can't not I want because it's gonna happen. I'm speaking into existence. Wanda will be back, and I can't wait to have her back in the MCU.
Absolutely.
She's one of the characters that they did a great job. I always thought was a really good character in the comics. I think that she was not overexposed, right? We read House of M and all, then she kind of disappeared for years, came back. And I think she's one of the characters they did a really, really good job of her character arc and portrayal in the MCU as a whole. The casting was on point, and they told a really good story with Wanda. Yeah. But there's so much more to tell.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to see her back in this Vision show. Dude, I'm intrigued by this Vision show. Just the little pieces we've heard.
Right.
We don't know if it's going to be called Vision or Vision Quest. Let's just call it Vision, please. Seriously.
Right.
What the fuck's a Vision Quest?
They trying to spin off the the WandaVision thing.
Okay.
The two syllables.
Oh, okay.
You get into the third, and then there's serial killers and all this other kind of stuff. So I think they're trying to spin off on the WandaVision.
Got it. All right, two more quick pieces of news, and then we're moving on, Adrian. So Thor Ragnarok was a movie that I really enjoyed. It set up Infinity War. We got to see a whole new side of Thor. We had a Thor Hulk fight in there. Thor and Loki working together. They're working together. Valkyrie was, introduced. Hela was the main villain.
Right.
How'd you feel about Cate Blanchette's portrayal of Hela?
Excellent portrayal.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I thought the character design was phenomenal.
Yep.
Like she looked on point. There's that scene where she reveals her crown, that big ass crown. Like they did a good job of comic accuracy with her.
Absolutely.
And she was a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, she was.
Dude, one of the coolest scenes with her and Thor, they have a lot in that movie. When she stops
Millionaire.
Yep. When she stops Millionaire and literally crushes the hammer. When she beats the shit out of him and removes his eye. And then their fight at the end, it was cool. Right. So believe it or not, they're rumored to be interested in bringing Cate Blanchett back as Hela, possibly in Thor 5. So if this rumor is true, I'm all for that.
Absolutely.
Bring her back. That is something that one of the biggest differences between the movies and the comics. Dude, in the comics, unless you're Uncle Ben, you don't really die.
Right.
Like how many times is Iron Man or Cap or Logan, someone's died and they're back. It's comic books. Or villains, right? They're killed off and then they're back a few weeks later.
Right.
In the MCU, I mean, it's movies, it's different. There's not as much content being put out, but a lot of these characters are one-offs, right? But now we're seeing them start to come back. Like Ultron was killed off in Age of Ultron. Now he's coming back in Vision Quest.
Yeah, but you could never really kill off an Ultron because theoretically Ultron, even though Ultron could basically packet himself off in some computer in a box and then go off, doing some other adventures. And if something happens, there's this, subspace communication, transfer, blah, blah. He shows up somewhere. So you can never really get rid of an Ultron.
Yeah, he can pretty much upload instantly to any computer.
Right.
Your phone, my phone, this deck here, the laptop. He could be in that fucking screen right now.
He could be.
He could be in James Gunn's cell phone. Maybe he's the one.
Definitely not in James Gunn's cell phone.
Maybe he's the one controlling him. He's got him talking all this shit. So bringing Hela back makes sense. I mean, these are Asgardian gods. Like, do they really die forever? I mean,
yeah, but okay. So if the idea is that they're gonna make this Thor going away party, his going away party, is there such thing as having too many antagonists, too many high level people, characters in his movie going out that would make it nonsense?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could get there, but I don't know. I don't remember if they've announced any other potential villains. Now, I don't know if she's back as just a cameo or if she's back to be the main antagonist. I don't know.
So what's the purpose of this, right? Are they trying to make Chris Hemsworth's Thor go out beyond the split?
Yes.
Are they trying to introduce Beta Ray Bill? Are they trying to make him Rune King Thor?
Ooh.
There's a lot of variations.
A lot of options.
I would instead of giving him the Black Panther treatment, have him evolve to the Rune King Thor, and then introduce and let Beta Ray Bill take over the Thor position.
Okay.
Per se. That way you can keep Chris Hemsworth in
the background.
In the background.
Yep,
he can show up periodically like an Odin, right? But then have Beta Ray Bill take over.
Almost like similar to what they did with Loki. Loki's out sitting on his throne holding the vines together right now.
Yeah.
We know we don't know, but we're assuming he's going to play a big role in Doomsday, right?
Sure.
But we haven't seen him since Loki 2. He's just been sitting there the whole time.
Yeah.
Almost Thor evolves to a character that doesn't need to be in the main.
Absolutely.
But he's kind of in the background.
Absolutely.
Maybe he shows up in 5 years in a big Avengers movie or something.
Correct.
Yeah. I like that because you don't necessarily have to kill him off. Now, it's Hollywood, so what are they probably going to do? They're probably going to kill him off. They're probably going to RDJ him.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yep. So, but bringing Hela back, have at it, dude. Shit. Just don't bring Taika Waititi back. Because holy fuck.
He won't. He's pedaling underneath the ocean on his bike still.
Last piece of news, we talked a lot about Sinners last week. So go back and check out that podcast. And on other stuff, we deep dived into some music. And there were some rumors that Sinners was going to spawn a sequel. Okay. And speaking to Ebony Magazine this past week, Ryan Coogler said that this was his exact words. I've been in a space of making franchise films for a bit, so I wanted to get away from that. Basically, no, we're not doing it. Because he did the Black Panther, he did 2 of those, he did 3 of the Creed movies. So he's kind of been in this, sequel after sequel after sequel. Do you think a movie like Sinners needs a sequel?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so either.
It was done. All the characters are dead. Leave it alone.
Yep.
What you gonna do? Have the 2 vampires floating around and the old dude with the scar?
Yep.
No.
They're gonna do what everyone else does. The multiverse.
You're right. Or they're gonna do like a prequel or some dumb shit like that.
Yeah, this is when the twins were little boys, and they're like, no, you don't. What they're gonna Beetlejuice it. That's what they would do.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Exactly.
Leave it alone. So
exactly.
Kudos to Ryan Coogler for not being a dumbass. All right. Let's wrap this up, Adrian, with a little thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Number 1, Marvel Legends leak sheds some light on which characters will be Avengers Doomsday leads. Doctor Doom, Thor, Mr. Fantastic, the rest of the Fantastic Four, Cyclops, Gambit, Cap, Shang-Chi. I guess a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Next up, Jon Bernthal is set to return to the MCU. It's alongside another red suit wearing New York resident, not Matt Murdock, but one of his former clients, Peter Parker himself, Spider-Man. I give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
James Gunn tries to unalive the fun of being a comic book fan with his pretentious attitude. He says that comparing Superman to other characters and debating who would win is the stupidest fucking conversation ever. I give this a major thumbs down, dude.
Absolutely, I agree. Thumbs down.
Shit, trying to unalive the fun. You must be great at birthday parties. Shit. Don't have a cake. We don't want that's the stupidest conversation ever. Don't sing happy birthday. It's one of the dumbest songs in the world.
There you go.
Unfucking believable. James Gunn calls BS on all DC fans wanting Battinson as the DCU's Batman. I give this a thumbs up, dude.
As we flip-flop.
Yes, good job, James. James Gunn, another one. Dude, he's 3 for 3. Removes the selfie flying shot from Superman movie months after fans make fun of it online. I give this a thumbs. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Marvel Television's Ironheart hits streaming June 24th. They're dropping the series in 2 batches, if you will. So 3 episodes on the 24th, 3 more on July 1st. I give this a thumbs up, dude.
Thumbs up.
You hesitate there.
No, because it was like, was it about the movie dropping or it dropping in batches? So either way, it's thumbs up.
Yes,
so.
it's yes.
Okay.
And I think it's gonna be decent. I do.
I'm sure.
I hope it is. Shit. Maybe I don't know if that's just an educated wish, as they say.
Well, I mean, Marvel's, bad is probably better than DC's moderate. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, people would probably think you're a Marvel shill for that, Adrian. But anyways.
Listen, I'm reading the tea leaves.
Right.
or just looking at their track record.
Yeah, you're just using your fucking eyes.
Exactly.
Marvel rumored to be working through multiple endings for their Disney Plus show Vision, or maybe Vision Quest. One option would focus on the return of Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch herself. I give that one a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Marvel Studios rumored to be interested in bringing Cate Blanchett back as Hela, possibly in Thor 5. Thumbs up, bring her back.
Thumbs up.
Ryan Coogler debunks the rumors about a sequel to Sinners being in the works. I also give this a thumbs up. First one was perfect. We don't need another one. Just let it rest, Hollywood.
There you go.
Stop. Knock the shit off. Anyways, all right, moving on. We had a new segment here, Adrian. It's called Finally.
Okay.
Yes. Any guess to what this could be about?
No.
Okay. Finally means now.
I know what finally means, but in this context,
you have no idea.
I had no idea.
Okay. Now, how would you describe my movie watching tendencies?
Like your comments all over the fucking place.
That's good. Selective.
Okay.
Say, right? Like we've had conversations where you name movie after movie after movie, and I'm like, nope, haven't. I'm very picky. Okay. I'm like, kids at dinner. I don't like the vegetable. I don't like I only eat this with ranch. I'm like that.
Or maybe you just haven't been exposed to it.
I've been exposed
because I've watched movies that I'm surprised you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But they were out before you even born.
There's that. But a lot of new stuff. Like I hadn't seen any of these MonsterVerse movies.
Okay.
I didn't know what the fuck the MonsterVerse was. Like, what was this, like Frankenstein versus Dracula? Because we know from James Gunn, that's one of the dumbest fucking conversations ever.
Well, the MonsterVerse is like Marthaverse.
Okay.
just like that one.
Yes.
I don't understand why you don't know what the Marthaverse is or the MonsterVerse is.
I don't know. I know the Battinson verse, though. So the MonsterVerse is this Godzilla Kong universe. Okay. And this started last week. We were talking about movie franchises that had like over 6 or 7 movies, and Godzilla has like 432 movies or something like that.
Right.
And Kong has a handful too. But I didn't realize they were building this cinematic universe with these two characters, right? So actually, I got to shout out my boy Jon Bernthal. Now, remember he had that really bad hidden gem that we're never going to let him live down?
Yes.
But he put together a list for me of the MonsterVerse movies in, sequential order, I guess.
Okay.
So I actually knocked out 2 of these this past. So finally, Adrian, is a segment that I'm going to try to do every week where I watch a movie that all y'all have seen. Everyone in the fucking world has seen except for me.
Right.
Okay? So finally, this week, I watched Godzilla from 2014 and Kong Skull Island.
Okay.
And I have some thoughts. You've seen both of these movies, right?
I have, yeah.
And this is a lot different for me because I look at comic book movies through a different lens.
Sure.
Because I'm a comic book fan.
Yep.
So I may watch a movie that an average moviegoer would watch and they may hate it. And I may go, that was mid. I may go, this movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And they may go, it was okay.
Multiverse or our verse, whatever, these decisions, what you're describing right now, it's called an opinion.
It is.
And you have a right to have one.
Right. But I'm saying when I use a completely different lens.
Okay.
I probably glaze the comic book movies more than some people.
Okay, understandable.
Fair statement, right?
Yeah.
But these movies I don't. These movies I'm going to look at as just like an average moviegoer. Okay. So what I'm going to say, I will start with Godzilla.
Okay, that was the wind up.
Yes, that was the wind up. We're going to start with Godzilla 2014. I'm watching this movie. It has my man from Breaking Bad in there. Has Bryan Cranston in there, right? And I'm watching, and dude, after about 20 minutes, I forget it's a fucking Godzilla movie because there's no Godzilla anywhere. Nowhere to be seen. It's about Bryan Cranston and his wife, and they're crying, and they're dying, and they're this, and they're that. And dude, an hour in, it took, I actually checked the timestamp. Wow. It took 1 hour for me to even see Godzilla in this fucking movie. Who the fuck cares about all these stupid human characters? I showed up to see Godzilla wreck shit. That's why I pressed play. And I got to deal with this stupid sob story. The wife died. You join the club. In the movies, everyone's wives died. Knock it off. Shit.
Right. The traditional Godzilla movie, everybody in Tokyo's wife and husband and kids died.
Yep. Then you had Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, like their brother and sister in the MCU, their husband, wife here. You couldn't cast somebody else.
Right.
What is this? What in the fucking Alabama's going on here? Jesus.
No offense to the people in Alabama, as you would say.
No offense. I'm sure they're not offended at all. Dude, so this movie to me, Adrian, honestly, was a 4. It was a major miss. Now, the upside was Godzilla wrecking shit, fighting this. What was it? It looks like a big spider or something. Martha, maybe. Martha. Did he fight Martha? Do you know the name of the creature that Godzilla? Mothra. Was that in the first movie?
No, but Mothra is not I forget the whole context of the Godzilla 2014.
Okay,
but I think the whole purpose of it was kind of like a reboot.
Yeah. Yep. Just to reintroduce.
But Mothra is not a spider-like creature at all. Mothra is a giant moth.
Ah, okay. But the fight was cool. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
The rest of the shit, it was very boring, honestly, in my opinion. Now, you've seen this, probably not recently though.
No, I definitely haven't seen it recently.
Do you remember enjoying this movie, or do you remember thinking the same thing? Like, what were your thoughts?
Well, the fact that nothing stands out or I feel disappointed means that it was mid.
Ah, okay. It was definitely mid. It was mid as fuck. I was like, what? So y'all let me, hey, Jon Bernthal, you're the one that suggested this shit, bro. You're fucking 0 for 2. I'm just playing because guess what? The next one, dude, Kong Skull Island. Dude, I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
This is a fun movie.
Yep.
Was it perfect? No, but it was. I also think Godzilla was too serious. Like, that is one thing that sometimes the MCU, they overdo it, but the comic relief, I think, is needed in movies with, you got these big cosmic creatures, you got all this sometimes just a nice little joke between human beings is fun in these movies. Kong Skull Island did a great job of this. I talk about the MCU, half the damn MCU's in this movie. He got Samuel L. Jackson. So you got Nick Fury.
Yep.
Loki's in there. You got Captain Marvel in there. She's going to be the hero in here too, of course.
That's why I told you Sam Jackson pulled Captain Marvel along into that shitty role as Captain Marvel.
Right. Like, what is this where the fascination with making Brie Larson the hero began? Because she had that, that shot at the end with, she's a photographer.
Right.
I knew when they introduced her as a photographer, I'm like, all right, she's going to be some badass now. But why make her a photographer if you're going to make her the action hero? Make her some badass military chick or something. Yeah. I don't fucking know. But this was a fun movie. I love John C. Reilly's character, the guy who was left over in the island for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Dude, that was great. This one was fun.
Yeah.
You saw Kong pretty early. Dude, it was like 20 minutes into the movie. You saw a handful of Kong fights. The octopus we were talking about earlier, dude, he shreds that thing.
Yeah.
This was a fun movie. Yes, yeah, that was just lunch for him. And dude, the damn military goes in there. I was rooting for Kong because y'all showed up to my man's house.
Yep.
Started dropping bombs on them. Like, this is how we're gonna scale the land. We're just gonna drop bombs everywhere. Yo, Kong came out wrecking shit, helicopter after helicopter, and then eventually, ended up protecting them from the other creatures, the other bad guys.
Well, see, that's one of the things I love about this is like, you get introduced to a movie like that, and theoretically, because this is another made up world, unlike comics.
Right.
So you go and you see this one thing that you're after, but you forget all the other things that's on an island like that. Right. So if you think about it, if you got something that's that weird, of that scale, then obviously, you're going to have other things of that scale around. And then there's other things that feed off of those things.
Right.
So you're going to have ground level. So you're going to have a beetle that's twice the size of a human.
Yep.
You're going to have the giant octopus. You can't drink the water. I mean, it's all kinds of things that's going on. So why would you think that that's the only anomaly on this whole island?
Right. Yeah. It's just this one giant ape. There's nothing else. Well, he's got to be eating something, dude.
Yeah,
How the fuck does he stay that big?
Right.
Right. The other thing about this movie, they touch on some theories. It could be part of other stuff. The hollow earth theory. You've heard of this theory?
Yes, sir.
Where the earth is allegedly hollow, that there may be some entry points in the poles, right?
Yes, sir.
Could that possibly be why you're not allowed to go to Antarctica? Maybe. Maybe why there's...
Or own your own submarine, apparently.
That too.
Oh, that's a thing. We got to get into it. I'm going to write this down for other stuff.
Yeah, stay tuned. Matter of fact, y'all subscribe now. You're going to want to definitely check out other stuff this week. But yeah, polar opening. Some people believe there's an inner sun. There's a sun inside the planet, right? It's like a whole nother place to live in there, right? Now, if the surface of the earth is as big and vast as it is it crazy to think that maybe the inside isn't just magma and rock and whatever the fuck? Like,
dude, there are caves that can swallow cities. There's rivers flowing underneath the earth in different caverns. And I'm not even talking about the ones that the government's creating with their machines and stuff. I'm talking about just naturally occurring. Yes, there's plenty of places. I mean, we've literally, they've only told they've told us that we've only gotten down to maybe a couple of miles under the earth.
Right.
That I don't believe that to be true. But if there's supposed to be hundreds or thousands of miles between the surface and the core of the earth, dude, that's plenty of stuff down there. Plenty of openings, plenty of things that could be happening.
Yep. As my man John C. Reilly said in Step Brothers, plenty of room for activities.
Yep.
Plenty of room for activities. So I like that they touched on that. The Hollow Earth theory was part of this movie. That was pretty cool.
Right.
But I really enjoyed this movie. It was fun. The CGI was cool. Like the scene when they're flying the helicopters through the storm. Right. That was cool as shit.
I find that even though Godzilla can beat Kong's ass, and they proved that in a later movie.
Okay.
First of all, the scale of these animals.
Yeah.
I mean, they're massive.
Right.
King Kong is not Mighty Joe Young, so forget about that. Even though Mighty Joe Young was based off of off a person,
right.
There was a whole political thing behind that. But just the scale of these animals are tremendous. But Kong seems to have, first of all, he's introduced more quickly in the movies. But his adventures and the things that he does seem to be more engaging than, Godzilla. Godzilla fucking shows up out of the ocean, destroys a whole bunch of shit, and then goes back or sleeps in some coliseum in Greece or somewhere.
Or he has that icy hot that he shoots at. Like, he's at the flame, but it looks blue. I don't know. It's like frosty flames. It looked like it was. But it does take a while to charge up, though. Right. So that's why I'm surprised you say Godzilla beats up Kong, because like Kong's fucking going at it, bro.
Godzilla's badass before that.
Okay.
But he's got to do that. So it's like he went out drinking the night before. The heaves. Yeah. When the spines start popping off, that's the heaving. So he's up chucking a ice coolie or some shit.
Then I'm like, going back to Godzilla, bro, he's just swimming for most of the movie, my man. Swimming and swimming. I'm like, am I watching Finding Dory or freaking Godzilla here? When is he going to show up why did these other creatures get there? Then there's two of them. They're banging, they're playing the shit. It was just a lot. But the Kong shit, dude, Kong can fight too, bro. Yeah. Kong can throw down.
Yep.
But it's funny you mentioned the scale, because seeing this may sound weird, but it gives me, it makes me feel good about the Galactus portrayal in Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Because we have seen giant creatures on screen. Mm-hmm. We have seen them done well recently. Absolutely. Right? So if they can do that, this is 2017. So, whatever, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever the math is, I don't know, the math ain't mathing. Mm-hmm. But if they can do that then, now in 2025 with Fantastic Four, dude, how badass can they make this Galactus? Which I think Galactus is going to be a highlight of this film. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we've only seen like his boots and his head, because they don't want to spoil that in the trailers. Right. I think that part, people are going to leave. However you feel about the movie, because, some people love it, some people not. I would willing to bet that most people are going to walk away going, dude, Galactus was badass and it was done right. Right. Which if they could do this with Kong, if they could do this with Godzilla, you can knock Galactus out of the park.
So that makes even what was that Fantastic Four 3 with that makes even that so much disappointing and upsetting, because they were doing Godzilla and King Kong back in the fucking 30s, 40s, whatever. Right. To some degree, it looks ridiculous by today's standards. But still, they were still portraying these characters as these immense creatures, and instead of doing that, even some kind of way in Fantastic Four, you do a cloud. Right. It's ridiculous. It's insulting.
Yep.
It's insulting.
It really is. It's like that post-shower Shad again, dude. Like, you got to have him here, but it's this. Right. Seriously. But dude, I enjoyed this movie. There was a line in here that I was like, I've heard that somewhere before. So I don't remember the exact scene, but Samuel L. Jackson I think he's talking to Brie Larson's character, and she asked him about like where the cavalry is, right? Mm-hmm. How do you say cavalry? Cavalry.
There's no
like caval.
The L is after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a little slow, Adrian. Cavalry. Cavill, like Henry Cavill. Yes. But anyways, he goes, I am the cavalry. I'm like, I've heard that shit somewhere. So in Fast and Furious 7, if you remember the scene when The Rock comes back out of like the hospital and he's got all the guns and shit, and I think Letty asked him, where's the cavalry? And he goes, woman, I am the cavalry. Oh, okay. So they stole the line from my man, The Rock, dude. Hey. They borrowed it. But What does that have to do with this? Really nothing. Does it matter? No, not at all. But this movie, now we're going to have one of those stupid conversations here. Godzilla versus Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island just wipes the floor with that Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
This one was I would give Godzilla a 4. I would give this Kong Skull Island probably a 7. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't perfect by all means, but it was fun.
Right.
It's a good movie.
And by, people often wonder, like, I mean, they've portrayed Godzilla and King Kong, various heights and stuff, but I'm wondering how tall they're going to make Galactus in the upcoming movie. But by comparison, these two characters, King Kong and Godzilla is actually taller than Kong, but Kong is like 380 feet tall, dude, and Godzilla is almost 400 feet tall.
Okay.
So these are immense characters whipping around, especially when they start fighting each other.
Yeah.
So then you bring in the other, like on Kong Island, you bring in all these other characters, like the monsters that attack people at their level.
Yeah.
I mean, these are some immense creatures, and we don't think about it, because there's some nonsense out there about how it was impossible. It's impossible for creatures or certain animals to get certain heights. That's nonsense. Animals decreased over time because of food source, not because they couldn't grow that big.
Right.
And the reason that the blue whale or the sperm whale, one of those whales.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason why a whale is one of the largest or is the largest creature on the planet, supposedly, depending on how deep you go.
True.
Is as big as it is because the water has sustained this buoyancy, right? And there's so much food in the ocean to sustain that amount of mass. Not so much on land because, all the yahoos are going around killing everything, the dragons, so on and so forth.
Right.
So, but these are immense creatures. I just want people to understand, like, how tall they are. People are like, oh, King Kong's 50 feet. No, he's not 50 feet.
No.
Almost 400.
Go to this shot real quick. 3.
Do.
So look at this. It's kind of hard to see on there. Let me shrink this down. You see the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
You know how tall the Statue of Liberty is?
No.
300 feet.
Okay.
How tall did you say Kong was?
380 or so.
Look how fucking big Galactus is.
Right.
My man's like 1,000 feet.
Yep.
So it looks like they're going there, dude. It looks like they're going there.
Works for me.
Yeah. All right, you can drop that. But yeah, so I'm glad it's cool to see these movies because I never seen them before and kind of react for the first time. But I'm gonna say so far, dude, Kong's winning.
Yeah.
Now next up, I'm gonna go through the MonsterVerse. I got Godzilla King of the Monsters. That's the sequel to that 2014 atrocity, and then Godzilla versus Kong is the one you're talking about. So you've seen all these?
Yeah.
Did you remember liking these two, King of Monsters, Godzilla
They
versus Kong?
were entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say one sucked.
Got it. Okay. All right. Are they on par with Kong Skull Island, or was that maybe the highlight of this?
I think Skull Island is a highlight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they get a little wacky, a little goofy.
I think the Kong movies individually are more entertaining, more graphically appealing, more interesting than the Godzilla movies.
Got it. What did you see?
Because literally nobody's trying to tame Godzilla.
Right.
They just accept him for what he is.
Right.
They understand they can't kill him, so they allow him. They just give him wide berth to let him go and do. Because literally in one of the movies, his bed is the Coliseum, wherever the fuck that is. Right? He goes and curls up, and people just leave him alone. Yeah. Kong is more interactive, especially the when they do the Middle Earth or the Kongverse area. Basically, he's a king,
right?
And he has this giant axe, which again does him no good against Godzilla, but it's useful.
Yeah,
Did
you see the one that came out last year? Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. It was 2024.
I can't.
They're teamed up. I don't know. Fucking. It's a sequel to Godzilla.
I think that's the one where they team up. They go down into Kongverse because Kong is battling these other King Kong creatures. And so I saw it. It's pretty cool.
And there's another one scheduled for 2027. Godzilla Kong Supernova. So sounds a little spicy.
Listen, these movies, they've been around for so long. I hope they stay around forever.
Yeah.
Unlike what is the Living Dead or
Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead. They split that off so many times.
Yes.
But these are like, just like they are portrayed in the movie as being these celestial level monster things.
Yeah.
I think they just should hang out regardless of how they come about.
Dude, they're just fun movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not watching this expecting some like Oscar worthy portrayal, like, oh my God, the acting on Kong was just blew me. The art of this movie blew my mind. No,
Right.
what I was expecting in Godzilla was what I got in Kong.
Sure.
I was expecting a giant creature to just wreck shit for most of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they did a good job of in Kong. They did a better job because they did it throughout. And the human characters were interesting enough for you to want to actually care about them a little bit. And in Godzilla, they did not do that for me.
It's funny, like even in the last Kong one, so Kong had a bad tooth or whatever. So they did this special project and replaced his tooth. And then when he got back to his world, the other apes and shit was making fun of him because, the humans helped him get a tooth and stuff. I mean, so it was like that comedic interaction, even at that monster level.
Got it. All right, moving on. Adrian, we dug into Hush last week because, we're so Marvel biased. Why would we ever talk about a Hush comic? Because Batman's the best thing DC's ever had and ever will have. Okay,
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we went through about half of it. We're gonna go through the second half. I'm not gonna spoil the end. So it's like maybe it's a little weird for y'all, but I know there are people that haven't read the whole Hush comic. Comic Moments is meant to be me talking about some of my favorite moments from some of these comics. So I'm really gonna spend a lot of time on this one issue. And then we'll kind of skip through the rest. And I will not spoil the ending for all of you that have not read this. So if you remember last week, we left off, they were at the opera, right? Bruce, Selena, Thomas Elliott was there. And the last panel we saw was Joker standing over, looked like a dead Thomas Elliott with a gun that said bang, like a fake gun.
Right.
And then, all right, so pull up our super source here. We got this covered to the next issue, Punchline. You see Joker all fucked up there. Batman's grabbing his neck. Dude, this is one of those moments where, you've said this before. Actually, if you go back to, I remember our very first episode, Adrian, you were talking about how Batman doesn't kill, but maybe he should bend that rule every once in a while, right? And Joker would probably be the biggest one that he'd be our first choice, right? You're going to take someone out, take him out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Jeff Loeb kind of toys with that idea in this issue. So at this moment, Batman sees Joker hovering over Thomas Elliott, so he thinks he killed his friend. He starts going off, dude. And as this is happening, he's revisiting a lot of the traumas caused by Joker. So you see in the red panel are these flashbacks, right? You got Joker shooting Barbara Gordon.
Right.
He talks about that. And then you see this right here, Joker hovering over Thomas Elliott. You see Joker with the crowbar. That's James Todd, when he killed off Robin, who and then eventually came back as Red Hood. So, dude, all this is going through his mind. And, dude, this is some really cool shots. In the rain, brutal Batman beating the living shit out of Joker. And we haven't hit the title screen yet. So here we go. He's choking him. This is a cool-ass photo here, or picture here. The rain, jacked Batman. Let's see. Harley Quinn tries to step in. She can't stop him. And he's just thinking about Batgirl. Then he goes on and he's talking about Barbara as Batgirl and how amazing she was. Like, that she's a character too. I think sometimes with the Bat family, they all get balled up as like an extension of Batman.
Right.
But Barbara Gordon was a badass.
Yeah.
Like, he talks about that in here where she was more of a natural. She actually was, in his opinion, better at being that sidekick than Dick Grayson, Robin. Like she was just, it was her thing. And she enjoyed it. She loved it more than any of the other Robins. And to have that all taken away from her, now she's Oracle. Right. She's in the Watchtower. She, is paralyzed from the waist down. And then Catwoman, she comes in and she realizes like Batman's unhinged. She's trying to prevent this. And if you remember earlier in the opera scene, Selena gets shot in her arm or whatever. So Batman actually uses that again. Now, before we get to that, he's going through remembering, Jason Todd being killed. Because at this point in the comics, Red Hood has not been introduced yet.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as we know, Jason Todd's still gone.
Right.
So all these things are going through his mind while he and right here, dude, he's so upset, so like unhinged right now. He punches or whatever bottom of his fist into Catwoman's wound, which causes so much pain that knocks her unconscious. Right. Like, dude, he's willing to do that to Selena. Like, that's how much he's, dude. He's gonna kill him.
Yeah, but this also epitomizes how much knowledge Batman stores away.
Oh yeah,
you know, he's not about the show of taking you out. He's efficient in everything that he does. It also shows how he pulls his punches a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was why we were talking about Spider-Man's strength a few weeks ago. Dude, he pulls his punches all the time.
Oh, he has to.
Like everything you're seeing from him on screen is him pulling his punches.
Yes.
Like people are like, how could he be Captain America? Dude, he's stronger than him.
Right. Like by a factor of 10.
Yeah. Like just because he's scrawny little kid, that don't mean shit, dude. Right. And the way you see him fighting these, low life criminal, you stealing candy bar motherfuckers, he's not hitting them. Dude, he's hitting them with like 1%.
Right.
He would kill them.
Like Tony Stark, when he first was introduced to him, he's like, I was analyzing you stopping a moving vehicle in the air, 30 miles an hour, blah, 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 tensile streams of the web, blah, blah. So all that stuff's important. People miss that a lot.
Correct. But yeah, to your point with Batman, you don't realize all these little things he's analyzing the whole time. And he knows she's got this weak spot. And even in the midst of like losing his shit, he still knows enough and can keep his composure and target that one spot.
Because he's trying to take her out as quickly as possible so he can get back to business.
Correct. And here he is getting back to business. And then you see a gun pointing in the back of his head. Shoots off his little ear there. And this is actually Jim Gordon, who eventually stopped. Now, in this comic, I want to say Gordon was retired, but he obviously knew what was going down because why wouldn't he?
So at this point, I think I did a hidden gem on either Gordon or the people that influenced Batman.
I think it was that, yeah.
And this is why, people like Gordon, Barbara, Jim and Barbara, Alfred, that's why they're so important because think about this. He's had, Catwoman try to stop him. These people try to stop him. That's important to his life.
Correct.
But then Gordon shows up and he's like, he stops trying to kill this guy because he's definitely going to kill him.
Right.
If he didn't show up.
Yep.
So he's that important that he can trigger this switch in his mind for him to stop this, madness.
If it wasn't for Gordon, he would have unalived him, Adrian.
And I think that he should have.
Probably should have. Right. Look at this. I just love this art. Like, you get dark Batman. All you see is the blood in the rain. I mean, it really drives the emotion that they're trying to portray in the story home with the way the art, is done. Great combo, Jeff and Jim Lee. And you see Hush, in the background.
Watching.
It's kind of like, you talked about this with Doom. Like, Doom don't need to be in the forefront, like running the charge the whole time. He could be in the shadows too for a lot of this.
Because just watching his plan just unfold in front of him. Because part of, some people think that every time you do something, you got to be in every step of it. No, you don't.
Right.
I know people that like that. They'll like whisper in somebody's ear and then whisper in somebody's ear and then just sit back, rocking, waiting for this shit to unfold.
Correct.
Because now they're the thing that they set in motion is happening, unfolding before them.
Right. Yep. So this is one of my favorite moments in this comic is that Batman Joker alley. I don't even want to call it a fight because it's so one-sided. I love this cover, Nightwing Batman. Just great art here. Let's see. And this is Thomas Elliott's funeral. So we get to see that here. This is a really cool panel here. There's another, and I'm gonna kind of go through this quick, and I want to go to one more moment before we move on. So, got your girl Talia here, Talia al Ghul.
Right.
How do you feel about her character in the comics?
She's a badass, dude. She's exactly where she needs to be.
Yep. She's another one that they did a shitty job of in The Dark Knight. Like, what was that? And then this is one of the cool things about this Hush comic is it kind of hits on all of the elements of Batman, the character, the detective, the Bat family, the past trauma, the no kill rule, the mystic kind of the Ra's al Ghul aspect. So of course he ends up, and I'm jumping around, so we're not going to go page by page, but I just wanted to show this fight with him and Ra's al Ghul here. And you got Talia, Catwoman, Their interact now, of course, they got issues with each other because they're both after Bruce, dude.
Absolutely.
You know, come on. There's enough for Bruce to go around, though. You know, so there's cool fight here. And Talia's a badass, dude. She can hold her own, and she kind of whoops Catwoman's ass here. Lady Shiva shows up, who's another. But was she in Gen once? Or maybe we just talked about her.
We just talked about
her.
But
she's a badass assassin ninja. And then see this panel here, dude. Batman stabbing Ra's al Ghul through the body. Now you're like, well, he don't kill. Yeah, but he knows that Ra's al Ghul is going to hop in a Lazarus pit somewhere.
Exactly. Yep.
So he's kind of just like, at this point, dude,
disabling.
Right. And he just kind of don't give a fuck at this point in the story. I'm not going to get into why he's tracking down Ra's al Ghul because, again, I don't want to spoil the whole story for you guys. Really, the goal here is like to encourage anyone who hasn't checked out this comic too. It's one of my favorite Batman comics. And here, more of the fight with, so it's kind of like a little three-way going on here, dude. You got Catwoman, Lady Shiva, and then Talia. And then, of course, Talia outsmarts all of them. And then she lays one on your boy Bruce, dude. So Bruce he's getting around in this comic, dude.
Right.
He's kissing Catwoman. He's damn near killing Joker, stabbed Raj, and now he's kissing Talia.
Now, you know that's some manipulation and control when you got, you know, three women fighting over you, right?
Yeah.
One lands you the kiss, but then you go pick up the other woman and walk out the door.
Of course you do, bro. Here we go. Another cool cover here. I think that covers throughout are great too. This is a nice little panel here. So your boy Tim Drake. We were talking about Tim Drake last week. He is Robin in this. So Damian, I don't think has been introduced yet in the comics. So Tim Drake's Robin. James Todd's, you know, we think he's dead. And then Dick Grayson is being Nightwing. So Batman brings Catwoman to the Batcave. There's a point here where he reveals his identity to her. And there's a little fight with Tim Drake and Catwoman in the Batcave because Robin's like, what the fuck's Catwoman doing up in here? Right. And she holds her own against him too.
Of course.
Yep.
Tim Drake. Batman didn't split my ass open. Fuck.
Scarecrow. How do you feel about Jonathan Crane's Scarecrow, dude?
Unmemorable because I can't even visualize it.
I like him. Now they did a okay job in the Batman. And now Christopher Nolan, the Nolanverse, as they say, was very grounded. So I think they did a good job of portraying a grounded Scarecrow. But I want to see this full horror like Scarecrow done on screen.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. And of course, he's tracking him. That dude, he's either riding a horse, here he's on a motorcycle. He's just a pain in the ass. So we see a nice little fight here. But to my point earlier, you see all different elements of like almost every major member of Batman's rogue gallery is in this comic some way, shape, or form. Riddler's in there. We saw Poison Ivy. We saw Killer Croc. Harvey Dent's in here. We saw the Joker, Harley Quinn. Now we got a little bit of Scarecrow. We saw Ra's al Ghul, Talia. There's a lot of characters in this.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, dude. But they did a good job of, man. So here, he's whooping his ass. Batman whoops a lot of ass in this comic too. Now this is the part here. So we see Hush. Batman finally meets up with Hush. They get into a fight. He's taking his little, the tissue paper he's got on his face off. And who does he end up looking like? Looks like Robin there. So looks like James Todd.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Throwing us for a loop, Adrian. Head faking us, as they say. So this brings Batman back. He's like, what the hell? I thought you were dead. There's a cool fight here in the rain. It's like this whole comic's in the rain, pretty much. I mean, it's Gotham.
I mean, right. I was going to say in the rain, in the dark. Yeah. I mean, what difference?
The red skies, right? Dude, the sky in Gotham is either black, gray, or red.
Right.
The sun never really comes out. So we get a nice little fight here, and somehow they end up. Now, Hush is a master, talking about a manipulator. Like, they're at the Jason Todd gravesite. Right. So he's rubbing his face and all this.
My question is, why does the character wear a Robin mask underneath the bandages?
Well, you're about to find out. So he wore that to throw him off. As he continues to beat his face in here, something starts happening. His face starts to melt. So who would melt? Look, dude, I thought you were a Marvel shill. How'd you know that? Damn. So it's Clayface. He's fucking with him. And he even realized as they were fighting that this ain't Robin, dude. Right. Like, Batman knows his people, you know? So I'm not going to go through all this. We see some shots. I just kept these in because they look cool. Oracle, Batman at the Watchtower. There's a guy who I guess he was like a homeless guy, but he was a tech genius. Batman had him do some work on the Batcave. And that's how Hush kind of infiltrated Batman's whole deal. I won't tell you who Hush is if you haven't figured that out yet, or if you haven't read the comic. So, anyways, and there you go. There's the end. So, I highly recommend this. You can drop that. I highly recommend this comic. You read it in the past, and you saw the movie, the animated movie. It was a lot of fun. I read this frequently. Probably, I have a couple Batman comics that I go back to maybe once a year and kind of revisit. This is definitely one of them. So, you can purchase this on onlycomicsmerch.com. Go to the comic section. We have the single issues. We have the trade paperback, and we have a hardcover 20th anniversary edition. So, Adrian, we're going to hop into some We Respond, and then you have a hidden gem you've been hyping all day, dude. Yep. So, all right, we're going to start with our YouTube comments. We appreciate everybody who drops comments. And this is, if you're new with us, this is meant to be fun, okay? Yes. Fun with Mike and Adrian is actually the real name of the show, but it's not as marketable as Only Comics, so that's why we picked that. But we also, I didn't even tell you this, Adrian. We've had a lot of fans over the past, 37 months ask us, are you on Apple Podcasts yet? Are you on Apple Podcasts? And finally, I can finally say this, Adrian, that Only Comics is on Apple Podcasts. So you no longer have to only go to YouTube or Spotify. We're like a three-headed dragon here.
Right.
You got Spotify, you got the OG squad from YouTube, and now we're going to find a whole new audience on Apple Podcasts. So you've been asking, and we deliver. We just not like immediately.
There's only so much, a couple of people can do.
Correct. They're like, what do you want from us, dude? We don't have a whole team like James Gunn and these guys, But yeah, Apple Podcasts, so check us out on there. And you would just search Only Comics, believe it or not. So, dude, the Conspiracy Bros are at it. We are Mike and Adrian, a.k.a. the Conspiracy Bros, a.k.a. Silver Fox and the Unaliver.
Right.
That's catching on, too. We're going to come out that's going to be our name when we show up in Doomsday with everybody else.
Dude, when that comic book drops, it's going to be like, come on.
Dude,
somebody, somewhere, have some mercy on us or something.
Yo, we better get a fucking check for that, dude, because we coined that right here.
Right.
Yep. So, all right, let's go. We respond. My boy OG Dirte, he is a member of the Legion of Interns. He said, okay, Mike and Adrian, what do you think about the comic news stories I saw? All right, so some of these we already touched on. Rolling Stone interview, we talked about that. Yeah, he's actually in that same interview, James Gunn said Marvel was killed by corporate mandates and push for constant content. So here's what I'd say. I don't think Marvel was killed. Do I think the push for constant content hurt the quality? 100%.
Sure.
Which they even have owned that.
Right.
How much money did Marvel pay Robert Downey Jr. to shill for Ironheart? I don't think he's shilling for them because he's been really giving a lot of credit to Riri Williams and this show. And I even remember I saw something this week, OG, where it said that Robert Downey Jr. was the one who kind of pushed for Dominique Thorne to be part of the MCU in the first place. Also, my daughter was telling me this, that Dominique Thorne auditioned for the part of Shuri originally, and whoever, maybe it was Ryan Coogler, someone in there really liked her, but didn't feel she was, that Letitia Wright was better for Shuri. Right. But they were like, we're going to cast her in something. We don't know what yet. Right. And then when this character,
Very cool.
Yeah. So I don't think RDJ's shilling Ironheart, do you?
Nah. It's like a mentorship kind of a thing, even though it's in a world that doesn't exist. You can still do that.
Yep.
And Iron Man shows up in the Hidden Gem too, again.
Oh,
doing another mentorship kind of a deal.
Shit. Okay. Jeremy Slater said Marvel made a different Moon Knight than he originally envisioned. You never got through Moon Knight, right?
I never got through episode 1.
Damn. It's a slower moving show, but I really liked it. So
really?
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I was not a Moon Knight fan in the comics. He was in some shit in the background, but I was never so it was not that offensive. MCU has a drag queen in Ironheart. What the fuck, Disney? The character Slug in the comics is white, not black, a very large individual. Can someone please explain to me what is going on at Disney? Not to mention Pedro Pascal licking on zesty glow sticks and screaming at a fan because we didn't ask for a female Silver Surfer. There is a video of him. Now, there's a lot here, but
what the
Yeah. So it was I did see this video. I think it was from like a year ago. There was like a pride parade and Pedro Pascal, like gay pride, and Pedro Pascal was there like dancing with glow sticks and doing some
There you go with that motion again.
Yeah, I mean, wow, he was doing it. Here's what I'll say about that. Honestly, dude, what these actors do in their private life, I don't really care.
Right.
It doesn't. First of all, I don't care if anyone's gay, straight, whatever.
Right.
But as long as when you show up as Reed Richards, you do your job as Reed Richards, that's what I'm going to judge you on. Unless you're out there hurting kids or fucking killing people.
Or kidnapping people.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But as far as you want to hang out at the pride parades and fuck around with glow sticks, dude, have at it, dude. I'm not going to be there with you.
Right.
You're like, I have support. Hey, have your thing. But I don't do that, So that don't bother me. And a drag queen, I mean, whatever. I don't. As long as you're not, don't make Iron Man a drag queen,
Right.
don't do shit like that. But I also, this is where we're different than most people. I can see why OG doesn't like that.
Sure.
I respect that. You don't like it, bro? You don't like it. But
I mean, to some degree, it has to affect your purview of the person, the lens in which you look at people, because like the Ezra Miller thing.
Yeah.
A lot of what he did on the outside overshadowed what he did, even though he played a shitty character.
Sure.
He didn't play a shitty character. He did a shitty job of playing a very awesome character in the show. Obviously what people do on the outside affects them. My man, Cunt King, affected him.
Yeah.
So you got the drag stuff that Jason Momoa does, in his other movies, like the Fast and Furious, Furioso, that little weird movie that he played, multiverse hopping, that affects, how people look at him. So.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess from the, your sexual orientation, I don't get whatever, dude. You want to go play with gay glow sticks? Fucking have at it, bro. I just, I guess bigger things to worry about for me anyways. And OG also says, hey, Mike and Adrian lost track of time last week when it was Sunday. By the time I thought of what day it was, Adrian, thanks for the hidden gem on Night Thrasher. I was the one who requested him. There you go. Okay. He's a character I always thought was pretty cool and a fan of the grounded characters. They should use more characters like this in Marvel TV shows or games. Yeah, I read, there was a rumor this past week that Marvel is kind of shifting gears with their shows again, and they're going to tie into movies less, and they're going to tell more of the grounded stories in the shows and the bigger stories on screen.
It's interesting. Like, again, the hidden gem. We're going to the more grounded characters.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the grounded hidden gem
It's
today.
like we sit individually putting the show together for each other.
Correct.
Amazing.
It's like we're both in the Marthaverse, but we don't even know
exactly,
it. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. He says that I'm a fan of Thor, Ghost Rider, Silver Surfer, Blade, Nova, Spider-Man, X-Men, and Alpha Flight. Since we Alpha Flight fans, Adrian, what about a hidden gem on Wendigo? And then he says AWAB, because this is another week, another banger. By the way, there's some shirts coming soon.
Right,
Yeah, I put in some prototypes, so I'll wear them and see what y'all think before we put them on the store.
I've done a hidden gem on Wendigo.
You did, right?
Yeah.
You got to dig it out of the crates, OG?
I guess.
Yes, which we're working on, by the way. We're digging up all the past ones, and we're gonna do something pretty cool soon for you guys. Akeem Maymore. Remember Akeem? Akeem Amor. I'm fucking your name up, Akeem. Hey guys, trying to stay current as possible. I'm working class Joe, so doing my best, my man. So Chili's is named after the peppers, and a trick for Texas Roadhouse is to join the waiting list through Google Maps or the app before you get there. And if you time it right, you'll get seated as soon as you arrive. Look at that, dude. Okay. Life hack there. I do know Chili's is based on the pepper, but you would assume a place named Chili would have chili, and they do actually. It's just probably not that good. He also says, I don't think Batman wants to enhance himself genetically because of his hubris. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Because you always say, like, why doesn't he make himself but yeah, it's just that moral, that Boy Scout in him, right? He believes he can already do anything he needs, so why would he need superpowers? He can beat people with superpowers, so what's the benefit? All natural. I agree with that. It's a good assessment.
But my thing also is like, if you're that egotistical,
true.
Why not extend your life so you can continue doing the shit that you love doing?
I think you're talking more Tony Stark, dude. He's a little more egotistical, maybe.
There's that.
I think he edges out Batman in that. But yeah. Anyways, Mick Skeeter, another intern. Shout out Mick Skeeter. I just want to say thank you guys for helping me get through my 10-hour work days. Yes, sir. My man's a working fella. Your podcast helped me out a lot. I'm a park ranger and a part-time manager at a movie theater. Dude's the double duty, bro.
Right.
He's managing the parks in the daytime and dealing with pain-in-the-ass kids at the movie theater at night. Look at that. First, I doubt they'll ever lower concession prices because that's where they make their money. Yeah,
definitely.
It's definitely not from ticket sales. Studios get that. And second, wanted to ask, which superhero in any comic book universe would make the best supervillain and why? Wait, what superhero? Oh, so if you were to switch them, take a guy who's a superhero.
The same one that's number one, Batman.
Batman.
Absolutely.
Okay. Batman would be a nasty fucking villain, dude. Nasty villain.
And also you can throw in Mr. Fantastic, Tony Stark. Not in those orders, but I think Batman off the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Batman's up there. And even some of the ones you mentioned, we've seen versions of them.
Right.
Like the Maker, dude, he's diabolical.
Right.
And even Tony Stark, there was Superior Iron Man with kind of not really villain, but kind of walked the lines, but he thought he was better than everyone in the world.
Right.
And so, dude, the other, I mean, what if Spider-Man was a villain?
He'll be a menace, but not at the calculating level of a Bruce Wayne.
He'd be a pain in the ass,
Batman.
though.
Oh, absolutely.
He'd be a nasty motherfucker. Yeah.
Right.
No shit. Yeah. Once again, thank you guys for all you do. And if it was up to me, I would lower the prices or at least make combos a deal. Yeah.
Something, dude.
It's like you have no choice but to get the large shit. Like you go there, you get the small. Dude, the small stuff is 50 cents cheaper than the large.
And then the bag's inverted on the bottom.
Correct.
So you get even less.
Yep. You're better off getting the big fucking drink, the artery clogging popcorn, and call it a day.
That's it.
Like I just went with me and my daughter last night to see the Dragon movie. I think I spent $497, something around there, give or take, you know. Lex Xiang says second comment. Oh, let's go to his first comment. Hey fellas, AWAB, yes, another week, another banger. I'm gonna make 2 comments separately. All right. First, let's talk about what movies Mike needs to see. Yo, we're working on it. Got the finally segment. I've been making a short list. I want to petition Mike to make time for a few classics. First, Blade and Blade 2. Okay. I didn't have an issue with Trinity as much as a lot of people, but the first 2 Blade movies really set the tone for comic book movies. The blood bubbling effects in the first one don't hold up that well, but they are must see. You're a fan of the Blade movies.
Absolutely.
Do you dislike the third movie like a lot of people, or how do you feel about it?
It was less.
Okay.
They brought the whole team in and all this other kind of. It kind of got ridiculous, almost like the Blade movie couldn't hold his own.
Okay.
So they had to bring in all this. It had the Ryan Reynolds character and all this other kind of stuff.
Then he says, after you get those under your belt, we can talk about Predator, Gladiator, and the Mission Impossible series. Speaking of Predator, Killers of Killers on Hulu was pretty great. Definitely worth a watch for anyone on the fence. You ever seen that Killer of Killers?
I did see it. It's animated, by the way. Also, there's like a lot of Kong animated movies too that you might want to see if you're going to go down that MonsterVerse thing.
Okay.
But I saw it. I actually had to up my Disney subscription.
Oh, you re-upped it.
Well,
you had to add Hulu.
I had to add Hulu to it in order to see it.
Got it.
But it's definitely entertaining. I kind of shat up on it because of the third, like the ending. It was just complex. When it's kind of you have to understand it, and you're only going to understand it until you get to the end. So basically, not to really spoil it for anybody, they go through time and space to collect these Terminator killers, not Terminator killers. Whatever the fuck. Predator killers.
Okay.
Right. So the killers aren't predators. They're humans that have killed predators. Right. So they collect them to put them in an arena, but you don't know all of that until you start seeing the collection process. It's like, why are they jumping from, Stone Age Norse to Japanese to World War II? So they pop around to collect these cats that have killed predators to put them in an arena so that the survivor of that can fight their leader, kind of a thing. Okay. So it's a pretty interesting concept.
Got it.
Very good graphics, though.
All right. And then Lei Xiang's second comment, and correct me if I'm saying that wrong again. I know you probably corrected me like 14 times, but do it again. I just bought my tickets for Superman. Okay. I love going to the theater for huge movies. I do too. There's something about just going there. I know I talk about, the money it's paying it, but there's something about going to the movie theater, big ass bowl of fucking popcorn and sitting back watching on the big screen.
But I do believe that they can there are value adds. Like I say, have like this interview or introduction that only happens in the theater. I think people will go for that.
Have us set up afterwards.
Absolutely.
Pay us, give us a free movie, free popcorn, maybe wash our cars while we're something.
Right.
I don't know.
How cool would it be if, you pick a time, like, so you look at, what time do people go to the movies the most, right?
Yep.
And then have RDJ introduce the movie live, telecast.
I was going to say introduce us.
Well, that too.
Okay.
We can do a podcast with him after. But how cool would it be if RDJ telecast live for a particular slot to introduce the movie and then show the movie?
Dude, if that happens in Doomsday, bro, I give up. I fucking give up. We're going to start talking about Sabrina Carpenter's albums or something. I don't know. We're going to switch. We're going to be Swifties.
Can we monetize that some kind of way? Because we sure the fuck ain't getting no money any other kind of way. They're stealing our ideas, Mike.
They are
not paying for it.
Nope. Yeah, it's like Samuel L. Jackson stealing the rocks line. So, anyways, but I can tell you why that industry is dying out. Several reasons. All right, what we got here? First, the actors are paid so much money that the cost is out of control. Okay, I can see that. I bought tickets for a matinee showing for me and a friend. It cost me $45 for a matinee. How much money do you need to get paid to do what you love? $20 million? At the average income for Seattle, I'm guessing is around $80K. It would take a person 250 years to make that much. Yeah. Cuts costs of the theater industry is going to die. I can sit at home with a great sound system, my 85-inch TV, and watch those same movies. That is true.
Yeah, but the thing about it is this. It's like football players or basketball players. Why these guys get $50 million a year? Because the amount of money that these the sports these industries make is so astronomical.
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Right? A sports franchise gets so much money, it is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So they can afford to pay, a whole team of people an average of, 10 or 15 million each. Some getting 50, 75, some getting $1 million or $2 million. Hell, I'd be the water boy for $1 million a year. Yeah. But that's why they can do it in the movie theaters too.
Correct.
They complain, they talk about the budget and breaking and this and that. They don't talk about that shit in the sports industry. They have, quotas they have to meet as well, but nobody talks about them. But so these cats, they get paid this money because the industry allows them to make it. Now, is it fair that Robert Downey Jr. gets $20 million versus some other person that shows up as much as he does in it get $100,000? Things like that.
Right. Yeah. As I would say, who the fuck knows? But I also think, speaking of sports, did you see the Lakers sold for $10 billion?
Of course they did. Of course they did.
$10 billion, dude.
Hey.
That's insane.
Because they can.
Absolutely. But I look at it like this. Like, I'm not one of those that, Michael Jordan shouldn't get paid that. Dude, he can, or not now, he's older, but he could dunk from the foul line, dude. Right. He should get whatever the fuck he was asking for. Exactly. He can do shit that a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of people, not even him, just athletes in general can do. Exactly. Do you know how fucking good they are at what they do? Yeah, it doesn't resonate with people, I don't think, when you talk about the population and there's 32 teams in the NFL. There ain't a lot of room. Seems like a lot, but when you think about every kid that ever put on a football helmet and dude, it's the best of the best of the best. And the same thing with acting. Right. Dude, these actors take these papers, like Robert Downey Jr. isn't Tony Stark, but he embodies that character. And so does a lot of these. So are they overpaid? Possibly, maybe, but it's the world we live in. Absolutely. These movies make billions. They should get paid millions, Absolutely. And it's just where we are now, dude. Skeletor, XXX.
Yeah, while we getting paid shit. I'm just saying, a little imbalance.
Right. Yeah, throw us something, dude. We're the one telling them to watch your movies. Jesus. I mean, we should get paid for being Marvel shills.
Not only are we telling them to watch the movies, we're telling you how to make the movies, giving you the ideas for the movies. There you go. And you're still not, I'm just,
unbelievable.
It's unfair, Mike.
Yep. Skeletor, XXX. Yeah. We're the whole government here. He says, he's an intern. Shout out, Skeletor was another great episode. Guys, you have to watch Hercules in New York in German. I can't remember the last time I last saw it. Yeah, absolutely not.
I remember watching parts of that, dude. It was bad. It was bad.
He says, take a look at Godzilla versus Justice League comic. Then you'll know who wins. I still say Superman destroys Godzilla, dude. It takes too long for all that icy hot to start fucking building up, dude. You know.
I now if you see Godzilla +1,
yep,
you'll see Superman might take him out, and then he goes away, and then some stuff happens.
Okay,
I'm not gonna ruin it, but
all right. So you think Godzilla has more of a shot then?
I mean, Superman will take him out every time.
Yeah.
But it's like a Hulk kind of a thing.
Yep. Then he says, what about delivery to Germany? I believe it's all set up, Skeletor. So check the site because I did add international and so it should be on there. But if you run into any trouble, let me know. Jon Bernthal, he gave me the MonsterVerse watching order. So I appreciate that, John. We're 2 down. I got 4 more to go. So and then he said, I asked him which ones were good and bad. He said the newest one was the bad one. So that was the one from last year. I enjoy all of them, but that one would be least favorite. And then he said it's a shared universe series. So I'm all about. Yeah, no, it's cool that there is another shared universe and not just the MCU or that DCEAU, BC, whatever the fuck it is, LGBT, DCEU. They sent Pedro Pascal over there with those fucking sticks he had. All right, he also says, here's an idea. Oh boy, Johnny boy, he's got an idea for Hidden Gem. Whenever you start the segment, you should do a split screen with Adrian on one side and the Hidden Gem on the. Okay, all right, that's a good idea.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
I like that.
All right. So that would require me knowing about the Hidden Gem in advance. So we're not going to do that today. But that'd be a good idea. That'd be cool. Have them up next to you. Cycle through some photos. You're redeeming yourself, dude, John. One comment at a time. Maple Grove, AWAB. Yes, another week, another banger. I'm glad Adrian enjoyed Sinners. I loved it, but as it was way closer to home for him, I was excited to hear his opinion on it. Yeah, it was a good talk last week on that. And I agree. The timing of it coming out after and during the conversation you had is just wild. It really is.
Right,
dude.
it is.
Like,
it
what
is.
the fuck, man? Everyone's listening to us. Yeah. Everyone, and they just can't pay us.
See, another reference to the Hidden Gem.
Oh,
maybe it's other stuff.
Okay,
we'll put it in other stuff.
Other stuff.
Yeah,
coming at you this Wednesday, most likely, probably. Also,
or Thursday.
Or Thursday. Who knows? Also, it's doing well here for us because there's classic Irish. Yeah, my man Naple Grove's from Ireland. Irish folk song in it too. So he's the enemy, dude. You're the vampire, Naple Grove. So learning about the culture in the movie in Mississippi, as well as seeing my own sprinkled in there, was really cool. Even if we aren't vampires, I think you are, dude. Slapper Wrestling, my man, the Goats of Pods, delivering another banger. The Hat Game, always strong. Yes, always. Also finishing up season 1 of X-Men animated series. I'm hooked. Rogue is fire. Yes, she is.
Definitely.
Fantastic Four animated show was a solid 7 out of 10. The Inhumans stole the show. Because of y'all influence, I also picked up my first 2 comics. I don't know if they're good. Got Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe and Black Bolt Volume 1 Hard Time. I heard Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe is fun. I've skimmed through it, never really read it. But look at that, dude. We are comic influencers. We've been called that.
What's interesting is that nobody picks up the Inhumans comics, but it's interesting that he started with that.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see. Let us know how you develop.
Yeah, absolutely. He says, keen to see the Dr. Doom mask you got coming. Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to that. Question from my guys. I'm interested to hear your answers on wrestlers who, I got to put a little more thought in that. Wrestlers who could be comic characters. Off the top of my head, Liv Morgan, and you're not going to know any of this. So it's like, if you want to take
I know them once they become the actors.
There you go. Yeah, because they're going to take my advice here.
Oh, of course.
Liv Morgan, I think, would knock it out of the park as Harley Quinn. I know a lot of people would probably say Alexa Bliss, but I think Liv would be better at that. I think Stephanie Vacour would be a good Psylocke, and the reason why that hits me is she kind of wears an attire similar to that. Cody Rhodes, dude. Cody Rhodes could be a Cap, as crazy as that sounds, with the blonde hair, kind of chiseled jaw. He's got the American boy look, I think.
Yeah, but Captain America has a particular bulk to him.
Yeah.
And he can't be like a fat bulk.
Oh, no. Cody's pretty. He would probably have to put on a little bit of mass, but he's pretty shredded.
Okay.
Yeah, Cody's in great shape.
And the only reason I'm saying it because I don't know what this cat looks like.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about his father.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, He ain't Dusty Rhodes. Oh, no. No, but Dusty Rhodes a big boy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, baby. The dream, baby. He was a shit, dude. The polka dots and all that. Who else? I think that Randy Orton. Now it depends on when in his career. I think he would have been a good Batman Bruce Wayne at one point. Randy was a big guy. He's got the back in the day, he had the kind of slick back hair. He also may even work as the Beyonder. He kind of has that look to him. Who else? That's probably a few off the top. Oh, here's one. Not the look, but I think he could pull it off personality-wise. Seth Rollins as the Joker. That may be a little crazy, but I think he can pull it off. So, all right, John Bonvon. Robbie Reyes, a.k.a. Ghost Rider, was introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, we were talking about earlier. Yeah. He gets the spirit of vengeance from Johnny Blaze in Ghost Rider form. I want those versions to come back for continuity purposes. Yeah, that would be cool. He also says, Mike, don't take their advice. Go watch Iron Fist. John, you have a lot of suggestions this week. You might want to learn to quit when you're ahead, okay? Go watch Iron Fist. In my opinion, I will never skip an MCU project. I'll always watch. I hear that.
I understand the context, but and it's good to see it how Iron Fist, is part of the other team.
Right.
But it is definitely the worst of those episodes, those movies.
Yep. Captain Canada, AWAB, the free t-shirt for a creator of this phrase. Yeah, definitely. Nothing's free around here. I love Connery and Brosnan's James Bond, followed by Craig. New 007 game looks fire. It actually does. It's like you're a young 007 recruit, and it looks like a fun game.
Okay.
Can't do no splits, but definitely worthy to carry the hammer. Cap Shield would look dope in the studio. I think it would too. It would pop it up, probably put it behind you or something. And then he says Krasinski was in A Quiet Place, Jack Ryan, and 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, great movie, and of course The Office. Yeah. Brandon Jones says if Adrian doesn't like Leo, I highly recommend him watch The Revenant. So a movie with Leo in it. No, but you ever seen The Revenant?
That the one where you got mauled by the bear?
Yeah.
I actually did like that one,
which was the one that won him an Oscar.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Oh, that was visceral, dude. I was like cringing and shit when that bear attack happened.
Yep. Amazing film. Halfway through the Punisher Max Omnibus. Yes. Feels like I'm getting the true script for the series, I bet. So much more detail, and Fisk is one evil son of a bitch. Yes. And for God's sakes, can we please get more Bullseye? We need more Bullseye back. Let's see. Let's get a few more here. Sons of Sekhmet. If Adrian watches Inception, you have to watch Predator. Okay.
Fair.
That's fair. And then let's see a couple more. That dude Pablo. The new Predator was tough, y'all. Very fun. Kind of reminded me of Twilight of the Gods animation. Did you watch the new Predator? The newest one?
Yeah, the one we just talked about.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's the one.
That's probably yeah. And then he also says, I'm sad I had to skip the Hush content because I haven't read it yet. I know it's old, but I just got into comics like last year. Nice. It's on my bookshelf and next up. Good. Well, let us know what you think about it. I'm currently reading Dark Knight's Metal and God Loves Man Kills. Mike kept talking about it, so I had to. Both good, not as good as Only Comics. He's glazing us right there. We'll take all the glaze we can get.
Exactly. Because we definitely ain't getting no money.
Glaze over money. That's going to be a t-shirt. Let's see. Oh, he also says, I'm flirting with the idea of reading The Long Halloween 2. Oh, you got to. Matter of fact, I would read The Long Halloween before Hush.
Okay.
I would, if that's me, when like we get old and we get Alzheimer's, well, I'm just assuming we're all going to get old, but then you get to revisit these things again. That's going to be a cool time, dude. Yeah. I'm going to have to write myself a note like, hey, dumbass, read this stuff again. Right.
But you don't recognize your handwriting either?
Yeah. Who wrote this? I'll be calling you. You wrote this note? You're like, who are you? When we get into a nursing home together, Adrian, we'll be side by side.
Yeah.
Down the hallway.
That'll be some shit, dude. Literally.
We'll still be doing this. We'll be wheeling. All right, welcome to Only Comics. Oh shit! I have any suggestions for thumbs up, thumbs down segment? If you can't decide thumbs up, thumbs down, just say I'll give this one a slap. Yeah, I like thumbs. I don't give a fuck. That's what I'm going with. All right, and then Rick the Don. Oh, we haven't heard from Rick from Don in a while, but what's up, y'all? I watched the movies a few times. You put me on the knuckles and started giving him the ones. James, what? A few times put on. I don't know what you're talking about, but James Gunn wouldn't dare put that in the movie on show. It's Dr. Frost, the dude that fights the Flash. That's where we were thinking about last week. The guy with the ice in Hush. Yeah, it's Dr. Frost.
Okay.
All right, and then we got a couple Spotify comments on here. Let's see. We got Hung Solo. It's a little naughty, but we'll let it slide. I know the GOATs of Marvel have seen the news. Yes, we saw Jon Bernthal's Punisher. How do you feel about seeing this as he was originally introduced from a Spider-Man comic? That's right. Punisher was originally introduced. Yeah, well, then shit makes sense, dude. Let's see. Mimo Garcia, they made a comic of Justice League versus Godzilla, and Godzilla almost killed Superman. Almost. And then C says, AWAB. We need an AWAB and balls on the lettuce shirt ASAP. Also, Sinners is a 10-10. I I have no problem glazing it. It gets better with each watch. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Also, fellas, we got a busy July. Fantastic Four, Superman, and Jurassic World. Yeah, I was with you in the first half. I'm not excited about the Jurassic World.
I'm going to watch it because of Scarlett Johansson. But outside of that, what is that, like number 13 or something?
Something like that, dude. Slap of the Base, last one. Y'all are the best. I got this show downloaded, ready to listen at work tomorrow. My man, I've watched and now I'm rewatching all of your pods on Spotify. Well, hey, when you're done with that, go watch them on Apple Podcasts too.
There you go.
Adrian, the hype train. You've been building this up, dude.
That's right.
The hidden gem this week. Who is it?
All right.
Kanye West.
No.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we talked a lot about Grounded. So let me talk about the references first, and then we'll get into the hidden gem. So we talked about, Iron Man being like a mentor. We talked about it being grounded. We talked about, Matt Murdock being everybody's attorney. We talked about Captain America being Anthony Mackie. So who intersects all of this stuff? My girl suggestion, I think it was last week or the week before, Misty Knight.
Okay.
Mercedes Knight. So Mercedes Knight, she was a cop. Actually, she was a cop, and she accelerated pretty quickly. She got on the bomb squad. Well, there was a bomb that she couldn't handle, right? So she was trying to throw it away, but instead of it, her getting away from it, actually took her arm off. Now, so we got a grounded character being a cop. So where does Iron Man come into this? Well, Tony Stark heard about her bravery, trying to get rid of the bomb. And of course, he been a tech guy. What did he do? He built an arm for her.
Okay.
Built her bionic arm, which, obviously restored her back to whatever level she was as a cop. But they still tried to give her a desk job. She was like, fuck that. So she went off and started her own private investigative service. She was actually at one point Jean Grey's roommate. Because, when you start your own business, you kind of go through a starvation phase.
Yep.
So she couldn't actually afford her own place. So her and Jean became roommates.
Oh, were they shacking up?
They were shacking up.
Oh,
not shivving each other, but shacking up.
Got it.
So through that agency and through those exploits, she met people like our boy Iron Fist. Because some cast was out to kidnap the person that she started the private investigating agency with, Ming. The girl's last name was Ming. So some people tried to show up to kidnap her. Iron Fist got involved. She didn't know who Iron Fist was. He had to knock her out. They ended up spooning later.
Okay.
Then she, left him. Got involved with Luke Cage during another kidnapping. Luke Cage actually tried to kidnap Misty. Iron Fist got involved in that, but then that's when Luke Cage and Iron Fist became besties, went off, saved the world together. Yep. So she kind of brought them together. She was involved in the superhuman Civil War. She was first contacted by Stark again because I made you an arm. Do some stuff for me. So she was contacted by Stark, Reed, and Parker, Spider-Man, to track down other non-complying superheroes. So she was involved in that. So then she went on the cover, met up with Sam Wilson. So she's kind of flip-flopping between Danny Rand and Sam Wilson. Ultimately, she became Sam Wilson's boyfriend, even with, and this is the wording, this is what I'm saying, maybe people will get what they want, the old Falcon back. Because in the comics, Sam Wilson drops the Captain America and goes back to the Falcon thing. So we'll see how that works out. See if that becomes true to life, right? So basically, she was a Hell's Kitchen-esque New York-based. She wasn't a superhero, obviously, but she was, significant. Okay. And she played around with a lot of superheroes. So the arm that Tony gave her, first of all, she was a master martial artist. So we go with her personal abilities. Obviously, if she's dealing around with Iron Fist, I guess when you work around all of these people, you pick up some things.
Yeah.
I mean, she's spacefaring. She's going out doing some combat in space. She's a private detective, which is another one. Obviously her skills, definitely not the Bruce Wayne level, but in order to be a PI, she was a cop, so she already had these investigative. Well, she was more specifically, she was a detective.
Yeah.
So she was already working in that field, and also, an excellent marksman. Now, this is where, the arm gives her strength, right? 75 times what a normal human can do. And then it was upgraded over the years. It was made out of diamond interlaced Antarctic vibranium.
Oh,
now, it could emit a frequency to where it could actually dissolve other versions of vibranium, except the Wakandan vibranium, of course.
Of course,
right? Another reason they trying to take my man out or keep him out. But they also say some stupid shit. And I'm wondering whoever suggested that is like trying to trigger me, right? So they listed as her weaknesses, not particularly organized when shopping for groceries. Why would you even put that in there?
Wait, say that again?
Yeah. She is not particularly organized when shopping groceries.
What the fuck is she doing shopping groceries?
Misty Knight said that she and Colleen attempted to get food to stock up Nightwing's restoration offices, but Misty herself was not good at it, and they turned to coffee and donuts.
Okay.
The typical cop comment, the unorganized. I mean, you always got to take them down. Then they say some other dumb shit like Misty was unfamiliar with the work of African-American civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois until she was introduced to it by a white dude, Deathlock, of all people. I need to do a hidden gem on him, Deathlock.
Yeah.
So they just say they always try to break the women heroes or characters down to their least common denominator while they build up so they point out the weaknesses of the female while they build up the weaknesses of the males. Sentry, crack addict, right? Become like the strongest person in the universe.
Of course.
So
destroy Superman. But anyways,
exactly.
Yeah.
So she ends up back with Sam at some point. So anyway, she's, flip-flopping between Danny, doing the whole threesome thing. So I think this is an interesting character, definitely grounded. I would love for her to show up, in the Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones thing. I think she could be part of that, if not have her own show, but kind of show up the way the nurse did, Claire did. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think because she's been between probably literally. And Matt has got to get in there some kind of way.
Of course. Tell me Matt laid it down, bro.
Well, they don't say he did, but
he'll help her organize those groceries.
So I think she would be a natural inclusion.
Okay.
Not necessarily an extension. I think she would be a natural inclusion to that whole Hell's Kitchen, Kingpin, all that kind of arena. So I think this was a good suggestion. I'd like to see her, come out a little bit more. And whatever project that they have coming out later.
Got it. Will come out like Pedro Pascal with the sticks? Or
I don't know.
No, not like, you mean just in more shows and things. Yeah. Introduce her to the MCU.
Yes.
Okay, that one.
Yes.
That one. Yeah, Misty Knight. You know how I know Misty Knight is from the Marvel Snap game. It's a mobile game.
Okay.
Like playing cards. Where you basically, how like Magic and those games, like there's Pokemon cards where you play against each other.
Yeah.
You got your characters, you got powers, you got moves.
Well, no, I don't know.
Okay.
But okay, go
ahead. Well, essentially, I have a deck, you have a deck, and I've never actually played these the right way, but I have a deck with characters, you have a deck with characters, we lay them out, and then our characters have powers, and we all have health. And if I use this move on you, it detracts from your health, and so on and so forth, and I can knock your character out. Well, there's a mobile game called Marvel Snap where it's based off of that type of game where it's a deck with different cards and each superhero has its own powers and things of that nature. But Misty Knight, I say all that to say, I was introduced to her playing that game. She's a character in that game, Misty Knight. So, so they featured her there, dude. So she is starting to come out in some things. So, But yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. All those characters you talk about, like you said, we were talking about all day here.
Exactly.
So she's an easy character to kind of slide in.
Absolutely.
With this whole multiverse story.
See her and Jessica Jones fighting for Luke.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they don't say that she hooked up with Luke, but definitely by extension, Danny Rand. And like I said, I'm sure Matt was up in there some kind of way.
They don't say that she didn't either. So,
exactly.
Yes, there's that. So, all right. Well, that's Hidden Gem. We're going to wrap this up with some agree to disagree. Are you ready, Adrian?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go to shot. Oh yeah, look at you. It's like, dude, you're there before I'm there. We're there at the same dude. It's like, God, it's like we're in sync.
That's it.
We get the Neuralink put in. Is that what
That's
it is?
it.
Yeah, Elon Musk?
Or not.
No, or not. Definitely not. All right. Agree to disagree. Number one, the DCEU is a complete failure because they tried to copy the MCU with a bunch of bad movies.
Disagree.
You disagree? Okay.
Yeah, it's not a complete failure.
Okay.
Failure, sure, but not a complete.
Shang-Chi was better than Zack Snyder's Justice League, baby. Yes. That was, I mean, come on. The glaze. There's so much glaze on that.
And it reiterates dragons.
It does. Yes, it does. Dragging the DCU through the mud. That kind dragons.
Yes,
My bad. Kong Skull Island was leaps and bounds better than Godzilla 2014.
Agree.
Okay.
Not by leaps and bounds, but definitely better.
Right. Better. Sentry would destroy Superman, James Gunn.
Agree.
Yeah.
Not because of the power set.
No.
But because of his use of his powers.
Correct. Because he's a psycho.
Right.
And if he finds out that they have like that good meth on,
right,
Krypton, oh shit, dude. He's done in a minute. Batman would beat Captain America.
Agree.
It's time to stop the Jurassic World movies. Enough.
Yes.
Please. And last but not least, Superman. See, I got some love for my boy Soups here. Would destroy Godzilla.
Agree.
You agree? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, one more. Only Comics is the best comic channel anywhere. Fuck everybody else.
That's it.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Join us, subscribe, be a member of our internship. Go to onlycomicsmerch.com, get some of this cool merch, and just check us out every week. That's all.
That's it.
We help the working class people get through the day. Speaking, we didn't see my man Broman. Where's Broman at? Broman didn't chime in this week, bro. I don't know where Broman's at, dude. Send out the search party.
There you go.
We sent some other interns to go find him because we're busy here doing this.
Do we need to start a lost and found, dude?
We do.
Whatever happened to the guy from way back?
God Mode. Remember God Mode? Dude, God Mode, where are you?
Right?
Where did you go?
If somebody knows him,
seriously,
tell us what he did.
Yeah, if you're a friend of God Mode,
hopefully he didn't get disgruntled and leave us. I doubt if that's the case.
That. Nah, I don't think God Mode would do it. I don't think Broman would do that either. So Broman, where the fuck are you, dude? Drop us some comments, dude.
Go find God Mode and
can you find God Mode? Yeah, you both. That's a good idea. So, anyways, Adrian, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man.
Another fun week. And you can find more of us in a few days here on other stuff where you tease some stuff there too. So I can't wait to get into that.
Absolutely.
Some hidden tech, as you say.
That's it.
And if we have time, we touch on some Hollow Earth stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
We got some comments. So appreciate y'all. Drop us some comments. Let us know what you like, what you didn't. And if you didn't like, we really don't care, honestly. Because like I said, we are here for our entertainment.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, other stuff's for you guys, for the interns, but this is for our own entertainment. We started this for us, not for you. You just get the benefit. And then Marvel and DC get to copy all of our ideas, make up millions on top of millions with them. Billions. They're making up to buy the Lakers, and we can't even get like a glass of water here. That's how it is. They keep the man down, or the man here is keeping us down.
Absolutely.
Yep, blame the man, whoever that is. So, anyways, thanks again. Guys, thanks for checking us out. Subscribe if you haven't already. You know where to find us every week right here on Only Comics. We'll see you next week.
Peace.